Oh, say, can you see? Happy 4th of July to everyone, to all you wonderful listeners on this Thursday morning. Last night, 4th of July. Hope everyone celebrated, had a wonderful time. I myself did not watch fireworks. I chose to do other things. We woke up early. I went golfing. It was hot as hell. It was hot as hell even more throughout the day, and it got even hotter. So me and my wife decided, as we were sitting in our hot-ass house, we got a fan running and an air conditioner running, and it was not doing anything. So we were like, what could we do that we could go sit somewhere in nice corporate-level air conditioning? So we had a plan to go to the mall and, mosey around there like old people, or, some other store. Of course, the mall closed early because of 4th of July, but, good old Target was open, regular hours. Those poor workers in there. Not a soul in the building, though, in Target. So we went out there, chilled for a little bit, and then instead of watching fireworks, we went to go see a movie, which was incredible. We saw Ocean's 8 with Sandra Bullock, Mindy Kaling, Helena Bonham Carter, the fourth installment to the Ocean's movies with George Clooney and Brad Pitt and all that. And to be honest, I didn't know what to expect with the movie. Fourth movie in an installment, they start getting a little bit shoddy. Look at the Fast and the Furious franchise, which I'll shit on a little bit later in this podcast. But I thought Ocean's 8 was pretty good. My wife also loved it. I'm a big Sandra Bullock fan. I mean, who couldn't love her? She's like a damn vampire, just doesn't ever age. Looks like all sorts of looking like a snack. But the movie was real good. I definitely enjoyed it. It was fun. That's basically what it was. It was fun. I mean, didn't hold it to no crazy standard or anything, but if you have an opportunity, check it out. I just don't give a shit about fireworks really anymore. I mean, you've seen it once, you've seen it all. And I mean, they're going on right now as I record this intro outside, and I have no desire to be out there. And I mean, I guess if it wasn't 98 degrees out, like Nick Lachey, I would maybe sit on my porch with my wife and watch them. But I mean, I have a fan blown on me right now with that's taking the air that's coming out of the air conditioner and blowing it on me, and I'm still just sitting here fucking sweating. And people are fucking animals, just out all day, sitting in the sun. I don't know. I'm a big man. I can't do it. But so this whole podcast is with a very special guest by the name of Ryan Privett, a kid that I've been friends with for many years. We started off as enemies, but then became slowly turned to friends. We talk a little bit about it. But actually, I don't think we talk about it. We might have talked about it before this, but this podcast was awesome because this weekend, me and my friends went away to a place that means a lot to us. It's called Bear Rocks. It's up near Seven Springs, Acme. But my buddy Ryan has a cabin. It's been in his family for years, and we have been going up there for 8 years. So my birthday was this past weekend, and every year I try to put together a little trip. Just a reason to get your buddies together, give them a reason to, set aside some time in all of our busy lives to go out and just hang out together. I originally go camping, but it was just going to be hot as fuck out, and it's easier to get people to go to somewhere that has a roof over it rather than just going in the middle of the woods and camping. Which I agree. I definitely enjoy the cabin and the nice amenities that come along with it. We straight up pulled some we pulled some smart moves. Like I said, it was 90-some degrees this weekend up there, so we decided to buy a air conditioner from Walmart to use for the weekend, and then we returned it, and it fucking worked. So, whatever. Also, I have to just like address my friends this weekend who all pitched in and flew. My buddy Brian Scagline, who was a guest on I'll Call You Right Back podcast, but he lives in Atlanta, so all my buddies that go up to the cabin with me, they all pitched in and got him a plane ride up here, and it was just like the most surprised I've ever been. I was just sitting there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Dylan showed up," and I was like, "All right, cool, he's here." And then, I just see Brian just walk by all the way from Atlanta. So I was really pumped about that. It made the weekend. It was a good start to the weekend, and it turned out to be perfect. But this podcast, I wanted to do at the cabin because, me and Ryan, we've obviously been going to this cabin, and we've been going there for like 8 years. And me and him have, I don't know, I think we hold a special place in our heart for this cabin a little bit more than everyone else. It was the only place I wanted to go for my birthday. So on the porch, me and Ryan sat down and recorded a podcast. So you'll hear some ambient noises in the background, birds chirping, the nature, might hear some other shit. Then you'll hear, shout out Waste Management halfway through, who came in with their fucking truck during trash day, and just, you'll hear it in the background, I'm sure. But so this whole podcast is going to be a straight nerd session about movies. Ryan I've never met someone in my life that has known more about movies than him. And, we don't have the same opinion all the time on movies, but like he's definitely well versed, and, I give my opinion and he gives his opinion, but his opinion is like way more educated and, sharpened than mine. He knows things about movies that I don't know. Goes into the director and all this shit, and I'm just a fan. But we had a real good conversation, and I don't know, I just enjoyed it. It was just good. We did it on the porch out in nature. I fucking loved it. Second podcast ever we did in the woods. The first one was Justin Criado that we recorded over in Colorado. But this one is up in Bear Rocks, PA. Very special place in my heart, tattooed on my body forever. I'm going to leave this intro a little bit brief, I guess. But, happy 4th of July. Appreciate you guys listening. You didn't blow out your eardrums from your M80s and your snakes and your sparklers and all that. But without further ado, episode 26 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Ryan Privett.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
Just living the dream.
I already have 1 million mosquito bites. I got them on my ankles. I could feel it. Probably ticks.
Yeah, I could feel them.
But that's all right. It's the price you pay to live in the woods.
It's not bad. We got these candles, but I don't really think they're doing anything.
The candles are not doing a thing. But, okay. What was your name again?
Reese Bobby.
Reese Bobby?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Reese Bobby?
Ricky Bobby's father.
I think Talladega Nights is a terrible movie.
Oh my god. See, I would pick, if there was like a debate, like Step Brothers versus Talladega Nights, I'd pick Talladega Nights.
Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. You're a psychopath. So we're in the woods. Technically, half in the woods. But we're also at a cabin. The cabin in Bear Rocks, which is right near Acme, PA. PA. And we're just living the dream out here in the woods, you know?
Yeah, we're here.
It's going to be like...
Probably close to 90.
Yeah, it's going to be literally 90-some degrees today, so
Yeah.
we're recording this early.
Wow, it's still cool.
Because it's going to be hotter than fuck later. So what are you drinking?
What's in the
Cup.
Right now, just drinking a plain old Pepsi.
And that's what's in your cup?
Yeah.
It's not. It's 8:59, and you're drinking a Pepsi.
Yeah, well, I've never been a coffee drinker.
That's,
Ever. I've tried it, but
What don't you like about it?
I think it's the taste. But people are always telling me it's acquired.
It's definitely acquired. I used to hate it.
I haven't tried it enough to get acquired to it. And I guess I've always been a pop person.
I enjoy a pop. I mean, I don't anymore, but I did. I
Yeah.
loved it very much.
Yeah, I've always been Pepsi over Coke.
I also agree that Pepsi is better tasting than Coke.
But like a fountain Coke from McDonald's.
Yeah, the only Coke that's good is Fountain Coke from McDonald's or any like pretty much like any fast food, like or a Cherry Coke from a movie
Cherry
theater.
Coke. Yep.
Oh, Cherry Coke.
That's still my go-to. Like if I don't drink pop that much anymore, I cut it down to maybe like one day a week I'll have a pop. But you know, if I go to the movies, I feel like I have to get one.
Yeah,
Some
you
popcorn, a pop.
You
some
have to have
candy.
a Cherry Coke and a what kind of candy do you get?
I always go with Sour Patch Watermelon and Reese's Pieces. Those are like the two go-tos.
I also enjoy some Reese's Pieces, but I also choose Bunch of Crunch.
Bunch of Crunch is good.
That's been my candy of choice, my movie candy of choice for a long time. Okay, so tell us all who you are.
My name's Ryan Privett. I am a volunteer fireman, a semi-professional race car driver, and an amateur tattoo artist.
Didn't expect that. How long have you been firefighting?
About 17 years.
17 years. Only 27.
Yeah, that is my real name, but I'm not a volunteer fireman or a semi-professional race car driver
Yeah?
or a tattoo artist.
Those are things that you've always wanted to do?
No, I kind of just stole that from Talladega Nights.
He says that?
Yeah, when he goes in the classroom at the beginning, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Ricky Bobby's father," and she's like, "There's no smoking in here, sir." And he goes, "It's all right, honey. I'm a volunteer fireman."
Who played his dad?
I can't remember his name because he's in Pineapple Express too.
What character was he in Pineapple Express?
He was Ted Jones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Ted Jones. We just watched that last night. So the cabin is somewhere that we've been coming to for 8 years now. 7 years or 8 years?
Yeah, I think 7 years was the first trip. 8, maybe 8, but yeah.
And like, how long have you guys had this cabin?
Since my dad was a kid. I don't remember the year. It was 50s or 60s. It was a while ago when they first got it.
And they just have owned it since?
Yeah, it's just been on my dad's side of the family.
Do you guys come up here often?
We used to, back when, I was younger and my cousins were younger.
Yeah.
But now that everybody's, older and, doing college and full-time jobs and everything, it's harder to just get up here as often as we used to come. Yeah, that's even the same with us.
Yeah, we used to try to come up a lot, but, I mean, we're just fucking busy. It sucks.
Yeah, this is the first trip in 2 years, over 2 years.
Yeah, so I figured I usually try to plan a camping trip for my birthday, where I'll usually just go out for like a weekend. Whoever wants to come could come, but it was supposed to be like 95, and it's harder to get people to go and just stay in the woods for a couple days in a tent.
Yeah.
Rather than saying like, oh, there's a cabin we could stay at with Wi-Fi and like Netflix and a Blu-ray player and a grill and a
Yes.
refrigerator and all the good amenities, and a shower and a toilet that you could poop in. But we've had different experiences up here at this cabin over the years. So the last time we came up here, it was like fucking...
Was it February, I think?
I don't know, but it was snowy as hell. Okay, so what was there snow on the ground when we came up?
No, I think it was just like flurrying when we got up here. I think we got up here like Thursday night.
Yeah.
And there was just like barely any snow. And then Friday during the day, it started to like come down.
Like crazy. It was crazy. And then by the evening on Friday, there was probably like, what, 2 foot?
Yeah, there was at least 2. Yeah, I still have a picture of it. Like you can't even see the cars.
Yeah, and this all happened in like maybe 7-8 hours. And like we were like, I mean, wait, didn't we get up here and the pipes were frozen already?
Yeah.
So we came up here and like no. We came up here and we turned on the faucet,
right.
and it worked for a second because there was still water in the lines, and we were like, oh yeah, we're all good. And then one of us,
it was like an hour later, we went to try it again. Yeah,
and just nothing happened, and like all the pipes were frozen, and like we were like, fuck, and like every time we come up here, we buy an ungodly amount of things from Walmart. So we already went and bought everything on the way up here, and we got here and we were like, fuck, like none of this water works. What are we going to do? And, we were either going to go home and waste all that food or just like, survive out in the barren.
Didn't we, we went back to Walmart to get like gallons of water.
Yeah. We bought literally 25 gallons of water. And,
but that's such an inconvenient. I feel like no matter what you're doing, when you get to the place you want to get to, and then you immediately have to leave again because you forgot something, that's like the worst feeling.
It is the worst feeling. It's a feeling of defeat and forgetfulness. But I mean, like it wasn't our fault. Like we didn't know we needed 25 gallons of water, but we definitely did. Like we used it all. Like you have to wash your hands. We had to so to not waste water. Like we were being real gross, and like everyone was just like pissing in the sand, pissing outside. But if you had to shit, we didn't want to use clean water to put in the tank, so we were trying to get snow in pots,
and
melt it down. So I needed to take a shower. I needed to. So for about an hour, I was melting down snow in this pot, and then I filled this hot water in a plastic milk jug and put a bunch of holes in it and made myself like a little makeshift shower where you could just like hold it above your head, and it was just imagine like a bucket with holes in it, and I'm just like kind of hanging it over my head trying to make it work. But like that's ingenuity at its finest.
Because we had limited water and we couldn't just leave to go to the store because the snowplow hadn't been anywhere near here. So like the water we had was the water we had.
The only way you were getting out of this cabin is if there was like $1 million or a woman that just that wanted you to come over, that booty call called you.
Home. Yep.
Yeah, and
because I mean, you literally couldn't leave. Like all the roads around here were covered in 2 foot of snow. Yeah,
and I mean, like this place that we're at is like back in like a little cul-de-sac type like wooded neighborhood, and there's like so we kind of just didn't know what the fuck was going on. I mean, we had electric and everything, which was cool, but it was snowing like shit, and it was definitely crazy. But the cabin is where I wanted to come for my birthday. Like this is my favorite place in the world, probably. I've loved this forever.
Yeah,
been a big fan.
I remember the first trip. I feel like I remember every trip.
Yeah. I wish that like it's hard to like place which ones are which, but
right.
Fuck it.
Yeah, because so many of the same people would come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you camp normally?
No.
Have you ever been camping?
I've never been like tent camping. My grandma and my pap on my mom's side had a camper. They had one of those ones where you put the key in there. They look like a huge Allen wrench, and you turn it, twist it, and pop it up. So we'd go to campgrounds, but we'd have the camper to sleep in.
Yeah.
So I did that a lot when I was younger, but
never tent camping.
Never been tent camping. There's just the once for your birthday. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Because Or no, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. We
Yeah,
just went and...
that was probably the first time, but I didn't even have a tent then either. I slept in a hammock, woke up at 5:30 in the morning, frozen.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought we all slept... I thought that there was a few of us that slept in that big-ass tent because it was pouring down rain and shit.
Not the night. I wasn't there the whole weekend, but the night I was there, it didn't rain.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the hammock all night.
That's the best. And you cut this tree down. Corey's sitting in a hammock now. But, so this podcast is... obviously we've been wanting to do this podcast. I feel like that you have a lot of interesting knowledge. You're probably someone that, I mean, you're definitely the person who knows most about movies that I know personally. I've never met someone that had more movies or have known more about movies. And you also had a job that I've wanted to have my entire life, and that was working at a movie theater.
Yeah.
What movie theater?
I worked at the AMC Lowe's Theater at the waterfront.
High class down there.
Very classy.
So first off, do you remember whenever Get Rich or Die Trying came out and someone got shot down there?
I do, yeah. Because people would still talk. When I worked there, which was 2 years ago, it would still be talked about. Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to
randomly
ask.
just brought up.
Like,
Yep.
do you know, like, what happened? Do you know what happened?
I think it was, like, from what I heard, it was the guys. I don't know if this is true or not.
Yeah, whatever.
But from what I heard, it was like the guy's cellmate or something, or someone the guy had met previously in prison, ran
Jeez.
into each other in the bathroom.
He just had a gun and shot him,
Yeah,
huh?
and he shot him. And there was like a trail of blood from where he got shot to where he like hit the ground.
Did he die?
Yeah, he died.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So someone died in Waterfront.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, but they were telling me it was like right in front of like the concession stand. Like you could just see the blood across the ground, like from where he was like got
Jesus
shot and was like
Christ.
walking till he fell.
Now, what was your title there?
So my like on paper title was just supervisor.
Yeah.
So that was basically doing all the shit on the floor, like
Like what, though?
counting cash drawers and things like that, for
Okay.
switching out like other people's shifts.
Yeah.
Helping to cover breaks.
Yeah.
There's like a backup in the concession stand doing that. Just like paperwork, kind of like all the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah. Everything but, like, ripping tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would do that if there was a call off.
Yeah, for
you didn't
sure.
have any coverage for breaks or whatever.
Now you've been into movies forever. Like, what is it like to be able to, like, I feel like that's like a dream job.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there's a bunch of trash aspects of it too.
The pay is probably the biggest.
Yes,
trash
I mean, like-
because movie theaters in general don't pay shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much any fun job you could have. You're not going
Right.
to get paid for.
Yeah.
You either hate your job and get paid decent, or love your job and don't get paid.
Right. And
And
that was the biggest. I mean, I think I loved it enough that I never really thought about the pay, but it was definitely always in the back of my mind. Like, and that's ultimately why I left, was because of the pay.
Yeah, it's
But-
because we're adults and we have bills.
Right.
And you
But-
can't fucking pay your bills off of a minimum wage
I
job.
know.
Sucks dick.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the pay was awful, but I think I liked pretty much everything else other than, getting slammed on a Friday night and you don't have enough coverage and you're just scooping popcorn into bags and taking it out to the registers and
Yeah.
just doing that for like hours.
Yeah, so like, do they, now, a couple things that I was curious about movies. Yesterday, whenever we were driving up, you were talking about how, we were talking about the Blair Witch sequel.
Yeah.
And you said that, like, they marketed the Blair Witch sequel as a movie called The Woods.
Right.
And I remember seeing, like, the red movie poster with, like, the silhouettes of the leaves and
Yeah.
or the,
Yeah, I still have
the
it.
branches and everything. And it was called The Woods, and everyone was like, "Oh, The Woods, that should be pretty cool." But you said that the studio sent 2 different movie posters.
Yeah, so there's always several versions of pretty much every movie poster. There's the teaser posters, and that just has like a general picture of the movie. It doesn't really have any information about it. It might just say like coming Christmas or coming Thanksgiving, and it'll have something on there. And then there are like the final posters, and those have all the producers' info, the directors, the date, everything. It has like all the information at the bottom of the poster.
Yeah.
So all the teaser posters we got sent just said The Woods on them. I think there was a red one and there was a black one. And it was just trees. That's all it was. I think it was a black poster with gray trees.
Yeah.
Then there was the red one with black trees.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And we didn't get any internal memos. Like, no one knew what it was. I mean, we get so many posters a day.
So like you guys, like the studio didn't come up to you and say like, hey, this is gonna be the Blair Witch. They marketed to you as a movie called The Woods.
Yeah, pretty much.
And how far out, like, do you get sent shit in the beginning?
Months.
Oh, really?
Like, we'll get teaser posters like so far in advance.
I guess you would, because like you're gonna put them up in the movie theater to say coming soon, right?
And sometimes teaser posters won't even have the movie's title on it. Like I think the one X-Men teaser poster was literally just the X-Men logo, and most people know what that is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
A lot of it won't even say the movie's title on it. It'll just have a picture of a character and say like coming soon or something.
Now, whenever like how far in advance do you know like the release dates of movies? Like how long? Like how far advance do they tell you?
Like a year.
Oh, like that far out?
We have like a calendar that would go for like the next full year.
Yeah.
And dates always change, and sometimes on there it would have the movie title and say like TBD on it. Because to be determined.
Yeah.
Like it was going to move possibly. Because movies always change release dates, and it happened to us a few times, while I was working there, where we, in our calendar, this was supposed to come out, and then you'd get some kind of memo from the studio that, the editing was taking longer than expected, or whatever was happening. It wasn't ready to go out yet.
Yeah.
And they were pushing it back a month.
That's pretty wild.
And a lot of stuff would already be, tagged in the theater with the, have the poster up, and then a piece of paper, like not a piece of paper, but like a little sticky thing below the poster that said opening Friday, this Friday.
Yeah.
And now we have to take that down and put something else up.
And do they just send you like movie posters
all the time? Like every day we'd probably get a few posters.
Yeah, and it's just like, what is it? Just like one, or do they send you a bunch of them?
Usually they send at least 2 of every poster. So
yeah. And like whenever I mean obviously I know you personally, but people that listen don't. But you had like an insane stack of movie posters.
Yeah, like if you picture like a tube that a movie poster would come in, I have maybe like 12 of those, with each one
filled.
Yeah, each one like full to the brim, like where I had to tighten them up so tight just to shove them in there.
Yeah.
Like there's probably maybe like 30 in each one or
you're
something.
You're just allowed to take them?
Pretty much. Yeah, I would do, so, I mean, we'll get into that, but like I would do giveaways for the posters.
Yeah.
Once I became like in charge of the posters, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like my job when I first started there.
Now, whenever you first started, did you start as like a ticket ripper?
No, I went right in as a supervisor, and that's just because I had previous experience as that.
Yeah.
And that's what I applied for, and that's what I went in for and started as.
Now, what was like offhand, what was the craziest release that you ever like witnessed down there?
Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Oh yeah?
Because that was insane. And it was insane for like 2 reasons. Insane because
sorry, I was looking away because we're doing this outside on a porch. That's why you could hear like all these birds and everything, and I'm literally staring at a deer that's looking right at my face. But anyway, so the Force Awakens, yeah, like it was very, very bizarre. I was like, what the fuck is that? And it's just literally looking right at me. But you said the Force Awakens was crazy?
Force Awakens, because that was the first Star Wars in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And every Star Wars release since then has died down, but that one was insane.
I bet. I remember that. I didn't see it like I think I seen it the first night, but it wasn't like the first showing, like the midnight showing from before or whatever.
That's funny you said that, because they don't do midnight showings anymore.
That's what I was just going to bring up. I was like, I remember whenever they were midnight showings, but now they're at like 10 p.m., right?
Yeah, now they'll have like 2. They'll have like a 7 p.m. and like a 9 p.m. or something.
Why do you think they do that?
I think it's because of like, it almost sounds stupid for me to say, but like movie theater shootings, which they don't happen.
Do you
There was,
think
like,
that
one.
has? Do you think that has something to do with it?
I think so.
I thought it would be more of like on a monetary perspective, as far as like people. It's easier to get people to come out at like 7 and 10 rather than midnight on a Thursday.
That's most likely part of it.
Yeah.
And you can get more money having multiple Thursday evening showings than just having one midnight showing. But it's also like, and I know at least for that area, like the waterfront.
Yeah, it's definitely
having people like all these people come in at midnight. I don't want to say it brings in a bad crowd that late at night, but
no, but like it's definitely. I mean, the people that come out at midnight aren't the same people that come out at fucking 6 o'clock.
right.
But
6 o'clock, you're going to get like the families and the older
Exactly.
people. You're not going to get the grandparents at midnight.
But you brought up this. You brought up like the shooting in the movie theater. Now, you being someone who worked at like a pop-in movie theater, like Waterfront is like a big deal, kind of. Did they like? Like, did you guys have like protocol and shit like that they went over because like you had a shooting there and
Yeah, we had to
that
watch
fucking
one of
nut
those
case
active,
in Colorado?
Yeah, we had to watch like the active shooter video that I'm sure a lot of people in retail have probably seen.
I've never seen it. What is it?
It's it's kind of crazy actually. It's very I don't want to. It's not super realistic, but it's not just like a guy with like a Nerf gun or something.
Yeah.
It's literally a guy with like a shotgun, and I think it starts. It's at a school or something.
Oh, it's not at like a movie theater.
They have different scenarios,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure the video starts with this guy, and he's just like sitting on this bench at the school, and he has this big black duffel bag, and there's a person sitting next to him, and he just unzips the bag, pulls out the shotgun, and just blows this person away. Like it's almost
fucking
like
insane.
It's like low grade movie quality.
Yeah.
how it's done, but yeah, and then it just goes through like different scenarios and what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to react. Things like that.
What do they tell you to do?
Basically, you're supposed to hide. You're not supposed to.
Hey, go up to him and ask him to stop.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like. People are always like, "Oh, I'd fight back and I'll take him down."
People
but, like,
are fucking dumb whenever
definitely
they
not
say that.
supposed to do that.
I mean, like, I don't even think anyone would do that anyway.
I don't think in the heat of the moment. No.
I mean, like, no one ever will know unless like they're put in that situation. But I mean, I would like to say that if we were in high school, like, if me and you were sitting in fucking, gym class and there was some nut job came in with guns, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if my first instinct would be like, oh, let me sprint dead at him just so I can get out and try to like get to him before he fucking shoots me in the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're running at someone who's holding a gun.
Yeah,
at
it's all
you.
situational. So,
Right.
like, how Mark Wahlberg was like, if I was on the 9/11 flight,
yeah.
that would have never happened. Like, the dude is a nut job for saying that. I mean, I'm cool with Marky Mark, but you're wild for saying that for sure. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's wild that they tell you to, like, hide. I mean, like, I would assume that would be, like...
Right. I mean, you don't want to try and run out of the building necessarily, because then you could get seen and shot.
Now, I mean, I don't even want to get into all that because that's just going to take it down to a dark path.
Yep.
So, bring a full circle to Star Wars. Like, how many... now, what's an average release, like, on a first night of a movie coming out? Like, what's, like, an average number of
Maybe
sales?
like 2,000 tickets, somewhere in there.
2,000 tickets, and that's for, like, all the showings of that
So
day?
there's different. They break it up. There's like matinee, and then what they call first prime.
What's that?
I forget what the time for that is. It's like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. shows.
Like
something that.
like the prime time
Yeah,
spots.
and then there's like second prime, which would be like the 7 p.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. shows, like in that block.
Yeah.
And they have different numbers for each one. Like they're only expecting 500 total ticket sales for matinee, and then goes up to like 1,000 for first prime, and then up to like maybe 1,500 or 2,000 for second prime.
Yeah. Now, do the studios tell you, like, this movie might be shitty and we might not sell too many?
Because they'll send, whenever they send the booking schedule at the beginning of the week, which is going to tell you, like, here's what you're getting this week and here's what to expect, it's going to say something like, we don't expect this movie to do well. Put this in one of the smaller auditoriums. Like, they'll just straight up say that. But it's not the studios saying that. It's like AMC saying that.
Yeah, and it's probably like, so... Like, what is, like, how do they figure that out? That's like from pre-screeners and stuff like that, if people, like, how people respond to that?
Yeah. I think with Star Wars, it's kind of just,
Yeah, know that, like, there's a few movies that come out, like, Jurassic Park movies, regardless of what they do, they're always going to do good.
Right.
I mean, like, I just,
And
now...
It's funny you said that because we could go back and say, oh yeah, Star Wars movies, no matter what they come out, they're going to do well. But like,
Yeah.
that's not the case.
Well,
They're,
that's my next point. Is like, why the fuck do you think that they're making one? Is it one every year or one every 2 years?
yeah, they're doing one a year. So they're splitting it up. They're doing like a story, like Rogue One.
Yeah,
and
to
then an
keep
episode,
along with the
and then a
story.
and
Yeah.
then an episode. And I think they're just trying to milk it.
Yeah,
I think
that's
the money's
exactly
the only
it.
thing on their
Why the
mind.
fuck are all these people milking these? Like, they're beating all these movies. Like, I saw online another Star Wars or another Spider-Man. I think that they're making another Spider-Man, and it's like, bro, like, give it a break.
Did you see The Amazing Spider-Man?
Which one is that? The one with I can't
That's
even.
the one with. So that was the one with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Okay, did you like that one better than Tobey Maguire or less?
Fuck no.
No.
Tobey Maguire, like, that was my Spider-Man. Like, I don't need a bunch of, just like Michael Keaton is Batman. Like, Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire is Spider-Man to
Okay,
me.
but did you see Spider-Man: Homecoming with Tom Holland?
No, I don't know if I've seen that one. Who's the
It's
villain?
so good. It's Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah. I did see that one. He what was his name in that?
Vulture.
Yeah, Vulture. I did see that one, and that was good too. It's just like, I think that all these fucking first of all, I'm not like a huge Marvel person or like comic book person in general. Like, I love the old, like we were talking about this last night. They have so many of these Avengers and like, Thor, Ant-Man, and now they're coming out with Ant-Man and the fucking Bee Queen or
Lost.
I just I don't get it. I mean, like, I'm sure I would get it if I was like more involved with that world, but like,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, Ant-Man's the one I didn't want to watch. Like, there's like so many movies. There's going to be 20 now.
yeah,
And it's like when they're all coming out, I'm trying to watch them as they come out.
Yeah.
They're releasing like 2 or 3 a year. And Ant-Man was the one that I was like, this is going to be stupid. And I actually really liked it.
yeah. A lot of people said that it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd. It's wild to think that he's a Marvel
Yeah.
superhero.
I know.
Because I just think of him in like I Love You or Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
And all the rest of those movies, like 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah. But they just, they keep doing so well, though, and making so much money that, I don't think they're going to stop putting them out. But
If I have to hear Yamo B one more time, I'm gonna Yamo burn this place to the ground. Yeah, the Star Wars movies, like, I think that they're just gonna beat them to death.
Yeah. I think they already have. Just like by how Solo just did.
I think the last one I seen was Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I just stopped watching them after. Same thing with the last Marvel one I seen was probably like, the first Avengers. But there was like, I didn't watch any of the Thor movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have never been real big into that, and like, I should, because like they have like, it's what a time to be alive. Like, we have so much like cool shit on Netflix. Like, I know that all them like Marvel based shows or whatever, like comic book. Whoever makes that, because Marvel,
Yeah.
DC, whatever the fuck it is, but like that, I know that Jessica Jones show is
Yeah.
supposed to be great, like Arrow and like all
Luke
these shows,
Cage.
like Luke Cage, like they're all
I've never
supposed to be
watched
good.
any of 'em.
Me either. The only one that I do really want to watch is The Punisher, just because like I really loved that movie.
Yeah.
Tom Jane's Punisher, like that was probably like my favorite superhero movie of all time.
Really?
Just because I really like the real aspects of things. Like,
Yeah.
and Punisher's not like,
Super realistic.
he's not Superman where he could fucking like, pick up a building and like, even to kind of like jump over, it's like, that's why I love Scream. Like, Scream is my like, that's my like number one slasher movie of all time, just because like it's real.
Right.
It's not Michael Myers getting fucking killed 90 times and like him just coming back. It's like, I love that. That's like super realistic, like a crazy kid in high school, like, and his best friend just like murdering people.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to like, because that's real. Like, they don't
Right.
have superpowers. They don't have fucking, evil, demonic things taking them over. It's just, if you kill them, they die.
Yeah.
But it was such a cool movie to me. And that's how I feel about, The Punisher, because like that dude was getting his ass beat, and, like, you can't, fake that out. Like, what's your favorite superhero?
Oh, my favorite superhero?
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to say. I feel like you have to split up superheroes.
I
Between,
think
like,
so, too.
There's like the kind that have powers and the kind that don't have powers.
Because I was literally just going to say, like, you know what? I would love to be Iron Man, too.
Yeah, but that's so there's like Iron Man, Batman, and like Ant-Man. Like those type of people, they don't have powers.
Ant-Man doesn't have powers?
No, it's just the suit. Like he
Well,
is a person.
I thought that he was, like, real small.
Yeah, it's the suit. It's like the stuff in the suit that makes him. I forget what it's called.
He puts it on and he gets small.
Yeah, it's like a button on the suit that he hits
Keep
to
it.
shrink or grow.
Keep it.
Like Iron Man has a suit, Batman just has a lot of gadgets and money. So if I had to pick my
But
favorite,
I feel like Batman's fucking fake too. Like, you know what I mean? Like Batman is way more unrealistic than Tom Jane's Punisher.
yeah,
It's like he fell down like he's like that scene in Batman where he fell down with Rachel on top of the car.
yeah.
And she was like, oh, and he was like, or she was like, let's not do that again. Yeah,
Yep.
let's not do that again.
Like
and
they just fell off a building.
yeah, like
and
come on
landed
now.
on a car.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I get it. Like it's a superhero movie, like whatever. But like whenever I think of like
There's
realistic
people
shit,
out there listening right now, and they're like,
Are you-
his cape slowed him down."
yeah. His cape, it like went, and it saved him a little bit. But you know what I mean? Like I don't care about that. But like I also love that. I love it being real.
Yeah.
Like I believe all the shit that happened in The Punisher. Like that dude got that thing blown up, and like whenever he got that gas pump blown up and shot off at the end, it's like that could really happen. 100%
Yeah.
that could have been real. And I don't know. It was always dope. Like my favorite scenes in movies are like the gearing up montages where like they're cleaning the guns and like, in the town whenever they're wiping off all the bullets with all the alcohol. Like that's so sick to me.
I love
And like
that.
Desperado, all those movies,
Yeah.
Boondock Saints.
Even The Matrix, which
That's
is just,
probably the best one. But I haven't
Yep.
seen it in like probably 12 years.
Yeah.
And how many DVDs do you have? How many movies do you have?
I think right now I'm like close to 800.
Yeah, like that's fucking insane.
It's like insane. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But I know there's like people out there that have like thousands.
Yeah, so
which is like insane to me.
now you started this thing. Explain what your the Instagram thing is.
So I just started an Instagram where I like would post pictures of like movies I'm buying.
Yeah.
Because I saw there were other people out there that were doing it.
And I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, there's like a whole side of Instagram where people will just, a lot of people repost content.
Yeah.
But a lot of people post original stuff too. And people will literally just post like pictures of a Blu-ray disc.
Yeah.
And get hundreds of likes on it.
Yeah, and I had no idea.
Yeah, and it's kind of insane. I posted a picture. It was like Quentin Tarantino's birthday.
I saw that, and
I
it
just
got
posted a
crazy
stack.
likes.
Yeah, I posted a picture of like all of his movies stacked up that
Yeah.
I own, and it got like 600 likes or something. And
Yeah,
literally there was like that was it. It was
There's
just a
no
picture.
reason. It's just fucking crazy that it does that.
And there's other people on there that get like free shit sent to them because whoever wants them to post it online.
Yeah,
And
for
granted,
sure.
they have like 10,000 followers, but like
Yeah. And now I just think it's crazy that there's like after you started posting this shit, like I started looking at other people that do it, and like I had no idea that was like a thing.
Yeah.
But like you're very meticulous. So like you had regular DVDs and like you switched them out and like upgraded
the
them.
Blu-ray.
Yeah, and like like how often do you watch a movie? Every day, pretty much.
Maybe like every other day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get home from work and you don't. This sounds like lazy, but you don't want to just like look for a movie.
Yeah.
And put one in. I mean
if
even scrolling through Netflix, it's like hard to want to find one thing to watch.
Yeah, you could lose 40 minutes in Netflix just like looking around, like, does this look all right? Does this look all right?
Yeah. And when I have a wall of just 800 discs that I'm looking at, I'm like, how the fuck do I know which one I want to watch?
I know.
Sometimes you just know, like you just get something in your head and you're like, I really want to watch. Like the other day was Green Room. It's like, I really want to watch Green Room. But like some days I just don't know and I just watch whatever's on TV, reruns or something.
Yeah. Now, we watched Pineapple Express last night, and it's been a minute since I watched that.
Yeah.
And we looked up what year it came out, and it was 2008. And like I'm just like thinking about like how crazy it is to think that like Superbad came out in like, what was it, 2006?
I think it was like around the same time.
Yeah, 2006, 2007, I think, because I think it was before I graduated. But it's just crazy that in 10 years, it's just like,
I know.
That's how.
It's crazy to think it's been 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years already. So you said that you have there's like a rewards program
Through Sony.
Yeah, through Sony. So like, what's that all about?
It's actually ending. I think it ends July 1st is like the last day or something, but it's been going on for a while. And every 5 Sony like Blu-rays you'd buy, you could redeem online for a free Blu-ray.
Yeah,
Like through Sony's reward website.
yeah, and
I have like a shit ton of Sony movies, and I got a lot of free movies through it. But there's like limited ones to choose from. So it got to the point where I'd gotten everything on the free redemption list already. So I was just getting like duplicates of shit.
yeah.
But, yeah, so that's why they ended it. I think they were just, everybody was getting
Everyone's
everything.
getting everything already.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Have you seen every movie that you have on your wall?
No. There's some that I probably bought years ago that I still have never even seen. Just like blind buys. I do that a lot on Black Friday, where there's a movie that I've heard of, never seen it in a theater. It's like $3 or $4 on Black Friday.
Yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it. What's $4?
Yeah, right.
Might as well get it.
That's just how we go with everything. Fuck it. What's another $4?
Just like at Walmart last night. Yep.
Now, I know that whenever you worked at this movie theater, like they would like send, like some swag, stuff we all get.
Yep.
And it's an Office reference, but laugh out loud because of Michael Scott. But like they would send you all this shit, and it's like, what was you guys' job for like promo? Did you have any like obligation to like promote anything? Like I don't remember like I don't know of any movie theaters that are like heavy on social media or anything like that. It kind of just sells itself, right?
It pretty much does. The only people that really cared about promotion were the smaller studios.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, and like Disney and Marvel and all that. They didn't care if we had their stuff out, really, because people were going to see it anyways.
100%.
It was the smaller studios that no one's ever going to hear this movie. They wanted their poster to be out.
Yeah.
Because how else are you going to hear of, Eddie Murphy's movie, Mr. Church, coming out?
That's a movie?
I never watched it, but I specifically remember it because the studio kept like sending us emails like, you need to send us a picture of this poster like up. And I couldn't remember where I put it. I think I threw it away and I had to go dig it out of the dumpster. It was still in its tube, but I was like, I'm not putting this garbage up. No one's going to see this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm part of the problem because obviously no one's going to see it because we're not putting the poster up.
I've never even heard of that, I don't think.
Yeah. I think it was just like a low budget, like, shitty movie. But yeah, the studio would email us like, we need pictures, like proof that this is actually up at your theater.
And like they choose, like they could like drop you as a customer and like not send their movie to you or anything.
Yeah, I think AMC probably has it a little easier because they're huge.
That's what I was gonna say. So like if you guys are involved with like a chain, it's probably like a little bit easier.
Right.
But now, let's say I started my own movie theater, like you have to pretty much like get accounts from different studios to be able to carry their movie.
You're either going to be like a first run theater or a second run theater. Pretty much meaning that first run, you're getting everything on release night. Second run would be like your dollar theaters that get the movies 3 months after release.
Yeah.
No one else has them, but the dollar theater has them. But you can't get them till later. So like you're paying less for them for like the rentals and everything like that.
Now, do you know any of the prices of the rentals?
No, I don't know.
Like I couldn't even imagine what that would be.
Right.
Is it like...
I'm sure I think it probably goes by how long you have the movie. I don't think it's just like a flat rate. But, I mean...
It probably goes by per person viewing, too.
Yeah.
Because I know in like the UFC and everything, like for Buffalo Wild Wings, they have to pay like a certain amount of money because each stool is a certain...
It's like worth a certain amount.
Yeah, it's worth a certain amount of money. Is that like kind of something that it's like?
It's similar to that because different theaters hold different amounts. Like we might have our smallest theater, which only has 90 seats in it, and our biggest theater, which has 400 seats in it.
400?
Something like that. No, I think IMAX. It was either IMAX or the one next to it, Theater 12, had like close to 400.
The Waterfront is like... a good... It's like a well-known movie theater?
I think so. And it's huge, too. It has 22
theaters in it.
Theaters. Yeah.
I remember whenever Distinta first opened,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "Holy fuck!" Like that was like, I remember one of the most pivotal moments in that is I seen the first Fast and the Furious there at a midnight release, and everyone after the movie came out and got in their shitty cars. It was like peel it out.
I think people still do that. Like. Even just, do you remember when we saw the Fast and the Furious? Was it the 20th anniversary?
Yeah.
A couple years ago?
Yeah.
Or was it 15th anniversary? It was something like that.
Yeah.
And, all the, like, the tuners are parked in the parking lot.
The
come
best.
To see it. Yeah.
And like, I have no desire, like, I don't care about cars, but like that movie, the Fast and the Furious is like, now I won't watch them anymore. It's at the point where I just stopped watching them.
Yeah.
I'm just
and I feel
tired.
like a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah.
They've gotten away from,
it's
like,
not the
cars
same anymore.
It's an action movie.
Yeah, that's all it is. I feel like I'm watching Mission Impossible or something. Like he drove a car through a skyscraper into another one. Like, keep it.
Super realistic.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just go back to the original. Like, the original movie was just like so good.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a car fan. But,
the first time I ever saw it was on VHS. I don't think I ever saw it in theaters.
Oh man,
but it was on VHS.
I went to the movies way more whenever I was younger than I do now, just because, like, you know, my dad would take me. I remember seeing, I remember a movie that fucked me up whenever I watched it was Blade. Whenever, you know, he shot that garlic, that garlic nitrate into her neck, and I was like, oh my god! And like, there was a bunch of movies that I watched in the movie theater that fucked me up. We talked about Blair Witch. Like, I remember seeing that in the movie theater. And I saw that with my brother, a bunch of his friends, and my dad. So I had to be maybe like, you know, 8, maybe 7 or 8. And my brother was probably like 15 and 16. And I just remember being like mortified.
Yeah.
Like the scared.
Seen it that young? Definitely.
The most scared I've ever been, because I was in Boy Scouts. So I was like going camping every weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And it was just like, you know, you're going to be in the woods and like you hear them little kids and everything. And that movie was terrifying back in the day.
It was.
It's definitely wild. How many, like, how long were the people at Star Wars? Like, when did people start lining up?
I think the first showing, so we had extra showings for that. So like we were talking about how they don't really do midnight showings anymore. It's usually like 7 or 9.
Yeah.
For Star Wars, they always make like exceptions, or even like big Marvel openings where like the night before, which would be Thursday night before the Friday it opens, they'd have a show like 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, and they would just go. And I think our latest showtime started at 2:30 in the morning.
Really?
Started at 2:30 in the morning.
Jesus.
Because they were all selling out like within minutes of these tickets going on sale.
Yeah.
So, you know, the studio and AMC reach out and they're like, add more showtimes, like as many as you can. Like, we want this to be in as many auditoriums as possible.
Yeah.
So we just kept adding showtimes like over and over. And they actually did, right, but leading up to Force Awakens, like a 6-movie marathon where they played the first 6 movies
In a row.
Yeah, so those people were in the movie theater for like 20 some hours.
And people were there and watched all of them?
Yeah, the theater was sold out. Every single seat was sold out for that. So
Jesus.
there's like almost 300 people in that theater watched all 7 movies. You know, they watched all 6 movies leading up to the 7th.
Yeah.
Watched the 7th one.
Because the earliest showing of that 7th one, I remember my cousin, he's a big Star Wars fan, and a couple of the other dudes, they were in line at noon, I think, or 11.
Was your brother there too?
He got there a little bit later,
Yeah.
but I think they got in line at like
seeing them.
11 a.m. And I think it started at 7, right?
Yeah, 7 was the earliest, but that was
Yeah,
normal.
fuck
We
that.
had people all day just coming in and, you know, lining
That's
up.
crazy. Oh my god!
And
that's-
I'd already seen it twice by the time that had rolled around.
Yeah, so like you're someone that appreciates movies where you like watch them numerous times.
Yeah.
Like you'll
And that's
just
why I buy a lot of them, because I want to watch them over and over again.
yeah, like I'm the same way. Like I watch a movie a bunch of times. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever I was younger, I had so many VHS movies that like there were some of them that I would just like watch every day. Like Desperado, I probably watched that 150 times. It was just one of my like that was one of my go-tos back in the day.
Yeah.
Desperado, the Monster Squad, shit like that. But that's crazy how long or how early people line up for that.
That night, whenever everybody finally, you know, because not everybody's going to get there at noon to line up. A
Yeah.
lot of people did, but when everybody finally starts rolling in, you know, around 6, 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
there were hour waits for a bag of popcorn.
Jesus.
We could not pop it fast enough to keep up with everybody. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with any of that because I was upstairs.
Yeah.
In like the projection area, the booth as we'd call it. But it was shoulder to shoulder. Like if you've been there before, you know how big it is in there. Like it's a huge theater.
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
Surrounding the entire concession stand and like the front lobby and the back lobby was literally shoulder to shoulder. Like you would have thought you were in the pit at a concert.
Do you know how much money you guys like sold just in like concessions?
I don't know.
Probably insane.
Insane. But that's, I mean, you got to think that popcorn probably costs next to nothing for a huge
Yeah,
bag.
that's what I mean. Like
Yeah,
nothing.
and-
So you guys are probably fucking killing it as a
Right.
movie theater. Another thing I had a question about was like, so Quentin Tarantino, whenever he released The Hateful Eight,
Yeah.
they did that special like 8mm film,
Yeah,
8mm?
70.
70mm,
Yeah.
8mm with Nick Cage.
Super small.
Yeah, super small. With you got
Films
to
like
use
the
bag.
size of a pencil.
Smallest movie ever made. 70mm, but they use like it kind of explained what that was all about.
So that was you know right after. So like I said, I started as a supervisor.
Yeah.
And that was around, I think, like August, September, sometime in there. And one of the supervisor, you know, duties, I guess you could call it, was you had to be able to open and close the whole theater.
Yeah.
So you went up in the booth, and booth is just what they called the area where the projectors were. So you'd go up in the booth, and you had to know how to, power on everything. You have to turn the lights on in the theater and turn off the cleaning lights, because every night you turn on the, the big bright lights so all the cleaners can come in and clean up all the shit that nobody wants to throw away.
There's cleaners every night there?
Every night.
Yeah, put a pin in what you were just saying. So we have to remember to talk about the cleaning.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But so I'm learning a little bit about how the booth works, and I'm getting to know the guy who's running the booth. His name's also Chad. Shout out Chad Nichols. Yeah.
Hey, Chad.
He was like showing me things here and there, like just little things like how to change a bulb on a projector, change filters, just like the things that in case he wasn't there, someone wasn't there, didn't know how to do it. I should know how to do these things.
Yeah.
So I became friends with him, and he tells me that he's trying to move to Florida. And he was getting a job at Disney down there. And, he's asking me, are you interested in this stuff? And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'd rather be up here than be helping out in the concession stand downstairs.
For sure.
So he starts training me more and more. And a couple of months go by, and he's getting ready to leave. And they're, management is kind of having to make a decision who's going to take over, projection. And ultimately they chose me because I had spent the last 3 months like just training and learning. And I knew I don't want to say I knew everything because there's a lot to learn, but
you knew a good bit of it.
That they felt confident for me to take it over. So he left, he moved to Florida, got a job at Disney, and I took over the projection there. And with the projection, probably put a pin in this, but it came like the classic movie nights.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that too.
And so that was what it was like. Projection, it was classic movie nights, and everything's digital now, so it's a lot easier than it used to be.
Now you mean this like digital? They're just sending you a file with like a key code to unlock it.
Yep. So you don't get too many hard drives, but sometimes you go to hard drive, and the hard drive pretty much just it's like the size of a VHS tape.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff comes just through satellite. The studio just hits a button and.
Is there any other new movies that come on actual like film reels?
Only if they do like
special.
Yeah, like Christopher Nolan does something, or Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, so like pretty much all the new ones though are just a digital.
Because most theaters already got rid of all their film stuff and just they threw all those projectors away, or recycled them.
Yeah, but I mean it's probably not as efficient as just getting a file sent to you. Plus you have to like have people that are switching shit over.
Right, and it's so easy because you really don't have to always with film. You kind of always have to be in the booth watching everything.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of cities. It's like a union job. A lot of places where they still have film projectors, it's like a union thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I guess
projectionist unions. But digital, you kind of just program it, and it kind of runs on its own.
You can set like a timer and shit.
Yeah, so you program all the times. You kind of build the playlist to an extent where you put just dragging and dropping the trailers in there, putting the feature in there.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. So like, if you have the feature movie, they don't come with the trailers. You guys put in separate. What is like? Do they tell you what
AMC does?
Oh, okay.
So AMC would send over. Typically on Wednesday, because Thursday night is when all the new releases start. So Wednesday they'd send over like a trailer pack, and that is basically just like a file that has a blank feature slot, and all the trailers already programmed into it. And you open that up, and like the program, you find your feature and you drag it into there.
Oh, that's sick.
And then you have like this complete file. And then you take that complete file, and this is all done on the computer.
Yeah.
Like you can do it from each individual projector, which I'm sure a lot of like 2-screen, 3-screen places do. They probably won't have a server. They just do each one on each projector. But with us, with 22, you would do it all from the central server, and you would just drag this file onto like, projector 3.
Yeah.
And it would start downloading and ingesting, as they call it, into the projector. But I'm just sitting at a computer doing all this. I don't have to go to the actual projectors.
That's wild.
It's just a huge server with all these movies on it.
Yeah.
And just dragging and dropping.
That's pretty crazy.
But you can't watch the movie until the studio sends over the key.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and the key is like not an actual key, obviously. It's like
I said you an old metal key. Like
you
Indian
just
in the
stick it in the
cupboard.
projector and turn it on.
Like an Indian in the cupboard key.
It's like a 10-page. Just you got to picture like a 10-page Word document.
Yeah.
That's just mumbo jumbo, like just random letters and symbols all typed in, 10 pages long, and somewhere in there the projector decodes that, and it'll tell the projector this can be played from June 1st at 7 p.m. to July 1st at 7 p.m.
Wow.
So you can't start it until then. You can't, and after that date is passed, the projector can't play it. So you can have the hard drive, you can have the movie, but if you don't have a key, you can't do anything.
All you need is the kid from Mercury Rising with Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
I don't.
Mercury Rising was a movie with Bruce Willis and the little kid from Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Okay.
You know who he is.
Yeah. It sounds really familiar, but like I can't picture it.
Well, this kid has like, I don't know if he's like autistic or like whatever, but he is this little kid that solved like a government code that was in like a, you know, like a puzzle book.
Okay.
And he had like autism or something, so he could just look at numbers and he would like be able to solved this like number.
Yeah.
And I guess he called the number and they were like, holy fuck, how did you get this number? And like this kid's like autistic or whatever, and I remember like the Secret Service or whatever like immediately was like trying to find him and like kill him or something, and Bruce Willis was like his Overwatch, like his look, his you know, like the guy who like
right.
kept him safe. But it was a good movie. Anyway, they send you this 4-page document or 10-page document.
Yeah, and it's everything's like copy and paste. You're just selecting which projector you need to upload this movie into, or these trailers into, this key into.
That's sick about the trailers. I didn't know that. I thought that like came with the feature, but
yeah, no, they just send it separately because they want different trailers shown. You know, they don't use the same trailers for every movie.
Yeah,
obviously you don't want a Quentin Tarantino trailer before like a kids movie.
Yeah,
but AMC's like who puts that together, and they just send it over, and we just have to put the feature in pretty much.
That's cool though.
Yeah. But so that's pretty much how everything works day to day. It's just all digital, and everything's just done from a central computer. IMAX is the only one that's an exception.
What's different about that?
IMAX is like a standalone projector. It's not
It's
connected.
different, right? Because it's bigger?
Yeah, it's two projectors like shooting out the image at the same time.
Two.
For both 2D and 3D. Yeah.
Wow.
But it
Do you like 3D movies?
No, I can't stand 3D.
Yeah, I don't know why people love them.
I think it's just a gimmick.
It's distraction.
It's like
to
a
me.
marketing gimmick, and you get an extra $3 a ticket.
Well, if you're not sitting directly in the center of the theater, it fucks up. Like I saw, whenever I went to go see Star Wars, he accidentally bought it in 3D,
Yeah.
and I was like, God, this is going to be the worst. Because the only experience I had before that was seeing The Nightmare Before Christmas in 3D, but that was whenever I was still in high school, and it like made me sick because like the 3D was so bad.
Yeah.
And like if you don't look at it dead set straight on, you get like a droopy version of it.
Yeah, if you're sitting like real like far off to the side or something, it
Yeah,
just
like,
doesn't look right.
If your head is tilted at all, it completely distorts it.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting this seat. He bought these like seats like 2 rows back, and I'm watching this fucking Star Wars in IMAX 3D, and I'm just like, ugh, this is the worst.
Yeah.
It's just a distraction for me.
It is, and I don't like 3D at all.
That's why they use 2 projectors. I didn't know that. So for 3D, they use 2 projectors.
Mm-hmm. And even for 2D, both projectors are still going.
Yeah, I don't even know how any of that works. I'll get into that later, but
It's But yeah, IMAX is all done on its own. Like IMAX always has a hard drive. It's not hooked up to the server.
Yeah.
You can't like control it from the computer. You have to go to the actual machine. It has like its own little picture. It has its own little computer.
Yeah,
a little
like
stand almost.
that's pretty wild.
Kind of like it looks like an ATM kind of that you control it from. You plug the hard drive into that. You upload it. It's all done like right there.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so that's all digital. And occasionally you have the directors who refuse to shoot digital, and they always want to, shoot on film. And, you have like Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan, like Martin Scorsese. Those guys are the ones that are they're not gonna go digital no matter what. And they'll have like limited releases.
They don't shoot in digital at all?
No.
Really?
There's certain people out there that they just don't want to.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like it's
still looks as good, but
it's
it's like releasing on vinyl almost.
Right. There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
But film is still almost better quality than digital. Like a 35 millimeter film is about 6K, equal to about 6K.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of these people still shoot on film. And just the whole the whole thing about it, it's like, it's a
selling point.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a novelty. It's like, oh, this is released on film.
It almost is a novelty now. Like people will drive, hundreds of miles to see a release that's released on film.
Because that happened in the Waterfront, right?
Yeah. They did, when Quentin Tarantino came out with The Hateful Eight, they did, I think it was 100 theaters. They did like a limited 100 theater run.
Across the nation,
Across
right?
the nation.
Yeah.
Of, his movie in 70 millimeter. And I think there was only 2 in Pennsylvania that got it, like 1 in Philly and then us in Pittsburgh. We were the only person.
That's crazy.
Only theater in the area that got it. But no theaters, I don't want to say no theaters because some do, but most theaters, 99% of them, don't have 70 millimeter projectors. They don't have the equipment for that.
Yeah.
So, like, the production company paid to find and make missing parts or damaged parts for all these projectors and get them out to the theaters. So they had to send, projectors and like platters and all this stuff.
What is a platter?
That's like what the film sits on and spins off of.
Yeah.
They would send all this to, 100 theaters. And then there's like little missing pieces or like parts that broke off that don't exist anymore, and they'd have to have them custom made.
Wow.
They spent like a shit ton of money just getting these theaters prepared to show the movie.
Yeah, that's crazy as hell.
Not to mention that most people don't even know how to run film anymore because every theater has gone digital.
Yeah.
So they paid projectionists to come into the theater and stay there and run these shows for 2 weeks.
Did they do that for the Waterfront?
They did, yeah.
Okay.
We had a projectionist come in from New York, and she was there for 2 weeks.
You talked to her?
Yeah.
She's pretty cool then?
She was cool because it was cool getting to see how everything worked.
And like that's like her job is to like run movies that are still on film.
Yep.
But just do it.
So she goes like everywhere to do it.
Yeah. Because like, I mean, there can't be that many people that do that. You know? Like that's fucking crazy. That would be a sick job.
Yeah. It definitely, I mean, she's almost stuck there, because once the movie ends, she has to, thread it again.
Yeah.
Threading, just putting the film through the...
Yeah, just doing it over
projector.
again.
Yeah, 4 times a day for 2 weeks.
Now, whenever you guys make a schedule for like the day, or like how, like do you make a schedule for the movies for a week or daily?
A week. Not a full week, not 7 days, but...
So everything is like programmed and ready to go for a week, and you guys don't have to fuck with it at all every day?
Nope. The only reason we have to fuck with it is if something went wrong with one of the projectors. We had to like cancel a whole auditorium because that projector, something went wrong with it.
Now, do you have like whenever you like if all this shit is scheduled out and you're like done with your paperwork and shit like that while you're working there, do you like were you able to like watch movies and shit while they were going on?
Not during the day. I'm sure people did. I'm sure like the ushers did.
Yeah,
but,
for
like,
sure.
What I would do is, and so this was like going in towards like the end of that year. Chad had left. He got another job, and I was the projectionist now. And you're back during the film days.
If you were a projectionist, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but if you were a projectionist and 99% of the movies that you're doing is digital, so like projectionist is just a term that like you handle the scheduling and everything.
Yeah, basically you're programming everything.
Okay, yeah.
So
I get what
rather
you're
than
saying.
physically touching film, you're programming on a computer.
But have you had to do that because of like the old? Because we were talking about the classic movie nights. So explain what that is.
Yeah, so classic movie nights was something at the Waterfront. They're still doing actually. Every Wednesday at 7:30, I think it is. They'll just show an old movie. Yeah. For $5.
Now, whenever you guys get them movies, like for instance, like you get to decide any of the movies. Like whenever you were working there, you got to decide what you played.
Pretty much.
Now, what did you have to do to get the movie? Like, let's say you wanted to play Home Alone, because like that's one that I went to. Like, you had that. You had like an original Home Alone movie. Well, you had one that you gave away too, didn't you?
Yep.
And like you had that movie poster, and like you turned it into something cool. Like before the movie would start, you'd ask a couple like trivia questions, because like they would give you some like random shit to give away,
right?
And like you kind of like made it interactive, so people definitely enjoy that more. But like it has a crazy following. Like there's people that go all the time,
right? And they'll like dress up in costumes, and there's a lot of ones will show the same movie. Like they always show Jaws like same time every year.
Yeah,
and, like people come dressed up in
every
costumes,
year,
like every year.
Yeah, and it's just like I'll always go see the Monster Squad whenever they play.
Yeah.
But so how would you get a movie like that?
It was basically up to me to find out who had the rights to it.
Yeah.
And what studio it was through or who was responsible for this movie now.
Yeah.
And then we had someone internal at AMC. Can't remember her name, but I would send over my list to her
Oh,
a
okay.
couple
Yeah,
months
yeah.
in advance, and she would then reach out to
The studio and
or
grab it.
whoever. A lot of these old movies, they're just some random small company that owns it now because the rights ran out.
Yeah.
And whoever, Paramount or Universal, didn't want to, they didn't care about this movie anymore.
Yeah.
So some Joe Schmo in his mom's garage bought the rights to this movie and is now making money off of people wanting to rent it out.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so I would send over a list to her, probably like 2 months worth. Like, here's my picks for June and July.
Yeah.
Let me know, what you think. And
Does all AMC do the classic movie nights?
no, I think we are actually the first.
Oh, that's cool
And
though. And it was always popular.
Yeah.
Like you always did well with it.
And I remember like going to it before I even started working there.
Yeah, we definitely went to it for Monster Squad, Home Alone. We even went to. I'm pretty sure. But you get these movies and like, what's like, do you know how much they like are?
Yeah, usually a few $100s for like a 1-day rental.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So even if these movies come on a hard drive,
yeah,
or even if we have to, like, some of these movies don't have like DCP is what they would call it. They don't have like the hard drives.
okay,
We'd have to play like a Blu-ray.
okay,
And sure, I could just pop a Blu-ray in the player, which is hooked up to the projector, and play it. But if they found out that we did it,
Yeah,
and
you guys
they didn't
would-
get their cut.
yeah, you'd be fucked.
Right,
You
then we
never
get
would
sued.
get any of it.
So like even if we had to play a Blu-ray, which I would just buy off Amazon, or if it was something I owned, just bring mine in.
Yeah,
We still had to let them know, hey, we're going to be doing this movie this night, and a lot of that
because
stuff,
you guys are making money off of it, so
Right.
like you have to pay for the licensing fee.
Yep. So a lot of the studios would just do like a flat rate, like, okay, this movie's gonna be 300 or 400 for this night. Some of them, if they knew it was gonna be a popular one, they would do like a cut, like they want 50% of whatever we make.
Yeah. Now, do you know like what was the most popular you did at your time you were there?
At my time, there's probably it's hard to say. Probably Halloween.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, probably did the most.
that's wild. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
The first Halloween.
Yep, original Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that was like pretty close to
What
being
did the
sold out.
worst?
What did the worst?
Yeah, is there any that only got like one person?
Yeah, it wasn't my idea. We did All Dogs Go to Heaven.
That only got one person.
Not one person, maybe like 10 or 12.
God, that's a
And-
good ass movie.
Yeah, one of the managers there really wanted me to show it. So I was like, I don't think it's going to do well. And she's like, we'll make like a fundraiser out of it, and we'll have like a rescue.
Raise a lot of money
We'll
for
have like
people,
a
huh?
rescue here. And they did all this, and like 12 people showed up.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it sucked. I felt bad. Like I legit felt bad when I
Yeah.
walked in the theater and there's like 10 people in there.
Yeah, because like a couple that we went to were crazy, and
Yep.
like any of them like 20-year anniversary ones.
Oh, and like Back to the Future. We played Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
It was on the date. What was it? Like, what's the date they went to? October 21st, 2016 or something like that. That was the date
Yeah.
they went to in the future. And that was the day the Wednesday fell on. It was that exact
really?
day. So like
That's crazy.
It sold out. It sold out our biggest auditorium, like 450 people or something.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, I think.
That's pretty
But,
crazy.
3 years ago, maybe.
Now,
yeah,
how would
when
you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say when that part came up on the screen, like when
Everyone
he
probably
sets the date
fucking-
in the DeLorean, and
Yeah.
it's that date that was today. Everybody was like, like cheering, like
Oh, I
clapping,
bet.
like it was crazy.
Do you like when people do that in the movies?
No,
Yeah, me either. I hate when people
not
are
when I'm like,
in a movie.
especially for a classic movie. I think it's different because
Yeah,
most
yeah.
people have seen it already.
Yeah.
But if it's a brand new movie, I want like dead silence in there.
Yeah, dead
I don't
silence.
want to
and-
hear anything.
Yeah, not people crunching on shit.
Nope. Like, put that popcorn away as soon as those trailers end.
So how did you how did you decide on what you wanted to pick? Was it strictly just like, I like this, or did you really like try to think what people would like?
A little bit of both. It was kind of, going with the seasons almost, or like what
Yeah.
holidays were coming up, but also like getting input from the audience, because there was a Facebook page for it,
Yeah.
and that's where I'd post, what was going to be playing, and I'd also post, like polls on there, like, would you guys rather see this or this? And whichever one got more likes, I'd throw that in the loop for the next month or two.
Yeah.
And then there was some that was just my idea. Like I did not last year, whenever that was, 2 years ago, I did Tarantino in July. And that was like, just like, I didn't care if anybody was coming to that or not. I wanted to see these movies, on the big screen. So that was like, I know people will come.
Yeah, that's
but like, if I'm sitting there by myself, like, fuck it ain't my money,
right? Yeah, that's the best, to be able to just decide what you would want yourself.
And it was weird because there were different people that showed up for every movie. Like you get the people that come every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you get the, completely different crowd.
Now, whenever we were just so I don't forget about this, cleaning wise.
Yeah.
Now, every movie, people will just buy all this shit and fucking leave it in there. I've been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it for sure. There's been times where, like, I remember one time I was going to see, I think it was Saving Private Ryan with my dad and my mom, but I had a bucket. I had that big ass bucket of popcorn. Yep. As soon as I walked in the row, I dropped the whole fucking thing. And free bucket. I mean, like, if you get a large bucket, go fill back up again. Yep. But like, what is like the cleaning? Like, is it after every movie someone goes in there and cleans everything?
Yeah. So I mean, it's just inevitable. People are always going to leave garbage. 100%. Or, some people have that mindset like, oh, this is someone's job to clean this up.
Yeah.
Whatever person you are, you throw it away, you forget, or you just purposely leave it.
Yeah.
There's always going to be garbage. So all the show times, we have ushers to go in and clean up after it ends.
Yeah.
But we get slammed like a sold out, 400 seat theater on a Friday night for like a new Marvel movie.
Yeah.
That's insane because we're literally just that theater is going to be at least picture like those big black hefty garbage bags. That one theater is going to be like 8 of those.
That's crazy.
So the only time we, like us personally, the employees wouldn't have to clean would be like the last show of the night, like that 10 p.m. show, whatever.
And then there's like
crew.
A night cleaning crew that comes in.
They would come in, they would clean up all the theaters. They used leaf blowers.
Really?
Yeah, so I'd get there sometimes early in the morning and they'd still be cleaning.
That's sick.
They'd come in at like 10 or 11 at night and clean till like 7 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a big-ass building, and that's every night?
Every single night, yeah.
Wow.
What they'll do is they'll go through, grab all the big shit,
yeah,
and then they'll hook up a leaf blower. They have these extension cords that are like, I don't know, 100-foot extension cords,
yeah,
maybe even longer. And they'll start at the top with the leaf blower, and they'll just blow all the popcorn down to the front.
I mean, that makes sense. It's smart.
Very smart.
Another thing that you told me, I remember you told me this a while ago, is that you guys had certain times, whether it be like in the morning or whatever, for people with like disabilities and shit.
Yeah.
Now, explain that, because I never knew about that. And it's
so they were called like sensory friendly showings.
Yeah.
And they'd have like a couple a month. And basically it would be for people with like disabilities or autism or, anybody could go to it.
People that were like, liable to have like outbursts or make noises, like had like tics or whatever.
Sure. And they would, the volume would be lower.
Oh,
they would
really?
leave the lights up. Not all the way up, but they'd leave, there's like 3 light settings, like all the way up for when you're walking in, trailer level, which is like half down. And then when the movie starts, they go almost all the way down.
Yeah.
They would leave them at like the trailer level for the whole movie. Turn the volume down a little bit. So it was just,
yeah, like a balance,
right,
trying to make things comfortable.
And they would always be like in the morning too, and they'd do like 2 or 3 a month.
And like, now were those type of movies like were they just like family movies, or was there like like crazy like Quentin Tarantino movies like that?
Most of them were just like family movies for the most part. Occasionally they'd have something that kind of like bordered, like maybe like an X-Men movie or something that was like PG-13.
Oh, so but still had a little bit in there. That's cool though. I mean, now do you now I knew a kid that used to have he used to wear hearing aids. Mm-hmm. So he would read lips. But one of his favorite things ever back in the day, I remember seeing The Mummy with him in the movie theater right next to the North Versailles Walmart that was only open for like a week.
Yeah.
And now it's like a crazy, weird flea market. Yep. But I remember seeing The Mummy there, but like this kid was like almost deaf, and like he obviously like couldn't hear that well, but he could read lips. Like, did you ever see of anyone that was like deaf or anything that would go to the movies and things like that?
Not deaf. I mean, yes, I didn't, not like watching them, but obviously they'd come in, but we had closed caption devices for that. So
what do you mean?
It's like, it's basically like this like thing that you would stick into the cup holder.
Oh, okay.
And it has like a rod coming up from it that's holding this screen. So it's like this flexible thing, so you can move it in your line of sight, but not in the screen.
Yeah.
And there's this little screen that's like connected wirelessly to the projector.
Wow.
And it would you'd have like the closed captions just scrolling across like on this little screen that was stuck in your cup holder, while you're watching the movie.
Damn, that's wild.
And then for blind people, we'd have descriptive audio, and it was the same thing. It was basically just like looked like an iPod with a headset, and it would read out, just tell them what's happening on screen. So I mean, it wasn't super loud, so that's all they heard. They could hear everything that was coming out of the speakers, but then they'd hear, on their ear, like Deadpool shot someone in the face, maybe explaining what happened on the screen.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we had those for, the blind, deaf, whatever.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Geez, I didn't know about that. I'm glad that popped into my head. That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that. I mean, but there's some people that do, and, you'd have the regulars and you get to know them. And
yeah, that's why I was curious, because I remember I was young whenever I went to see this movie, but I wasn't 100% sure, but I knew he couldn't hear well, and I was like, how are we gonna do this? And he was had a great time, but I didn't know he was reading lips the whole time while it was happening.
That's crazy,
ain't it?
Yeah,
it's crazy because I would never be able to understand how well he was at it, and I would always try to test him.
Right.
I would just mouth something and see if he could hear it, and his name was Eric Grunst, and he I don't know where he is right now, but he actually has the same birthday as me.
It's impressive.
June 30th, which is tomorrow. That's why we're up here at this cabin. But yeah, man, I just remember seeing that, and I've always been curious about that, because I know that there's people that are I watched the other day, and the thing that sparked my interest of it was the other day it said how blind people watch the World Cup, and it's fucking crazy because this dude was deaf and blind, and he had a mat on his lap, and there was someone else there that was had his hands and would move around on the field, and the guy who was deaf had his hands on the hands, and he'd be able to feel where it was, and I was like, holy fuck, that is crazy, because there was a viral article that was online of a guy who was deaf and blind that rode an airplane.
Yeah.
And he if you're deaf and blind and there's no one there that can communicate with you with sign language, if you're deaf and blind, the only way you could talk is through sign language by feeling their hands or reading or braille or whatever. But this dude just is traveling across the country in this airplane, and he just couldn't you couldn't ask him if he wanted to drink, if he needed to piss, he couldn't tell you or whatever. And it was wild because they said over the loudspeaker, they were is there anyone on the plane that knows sign language? Some young girl knew it.
I did see that.
Yeah, and she was doing sign language, and this guy was feeling her hands, and he'd be able to know what was going on. And that's just so crazy to me. I don't know. I've always been fascinated by that shit.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Even before they had the screens that would read out the captions, they had almost a similar device, but it was just a mirror. And then in the back of the theater on the wall would be a scrolling marquee in reverse. So instead of having this screen, which is new technology that read the captions, you'd have the same thing, an arm that was holding up a mirror. So you'd be looking in the mirror, you'd see the scrolling marquee in the back of the theater.
Really?
Scrolling the captions across.
You guys had that at the waterfront?
There's still one in there. It doesn't work anymore, but it's still in the theater.
Jeez, I never knew about that.
Yeah, if you're ever in Auditorium 3 there, you just look right below the porthole where the projector's at. You can see this big marquee type looking box there.
Wow.
Yeah, so even before the technology, it was still there, just had a mirror. You'd have to look in this mirror and see it.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Jeez. Wow. The more you know. I don't know. I love movies. I think the whole business of it all is pretty wild.
Yeah. It's definitely, it is.
It's dying though, right?
Yeah, especially with movie theaters, people don't want to go out anymore.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I used to go all the time, but now I could just sit on my own couch,
yeah,
and watch it in my comfort of my own home.
And movies are coming out so fast on like digital or Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming out now like 3 months after it's released in theaters.
Yeah.
And
So like,
most
why
people
pay?
are like, I can just wait. I can get this on Redbox for $2 or $3 or whatever in 3 months, and I don't have to deal with all these people.
Yeah. Now,
It's definitely an experience, though, especially going back to like The Hateful Eight and seeing that in film.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just certain things that you need to see.
yeah, and like all those showings sold out for the
Every
Hateful.
single show sold out. So I got to watch it by myself. They did a test run through the morning
Oh
before it
man, I
started.
forgot all about that. You used to always like we're in that group text, and you used to always get to screen movies.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest perk about being in charge of projection.
Damn,
there.
I forgot about that.
Thursday morning, I'd go because most of the keys for the new releases would unlock like at midnight Thursday. I'd go in around 7 a.m. Thursday morning, and I had real work to do.
Yeah.
But I got there super early, like 7 a.m. Go in, and if there was like a new movie or two I wanted to watch that week, I would ingest them into whatever projector I wanted to watch it in. Always 11. 11 is my favorite. So I'd always put it in theater 11.
Why is 11 your favorite?
I think it's the screen size is the perfect ratio to seating size.
Are they all the same?
No, they're all different sizes.
All the screens are different sizes?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Why is that like that?
I think just how the building's made, probably. Like.
Oh, I didn't know if like different movies were shot on different like.
Oh well, the screen. I mean, yeah, that's like the masking. That depending on if it's shot like flat or scope. Scope is when it's like widescreen, with the black bars at the top or bottom. Flat's when it's the whole thing, like it fills top to bottom. That'll be like the masking, like those curtains will slide in or out or up or down. So the screen stays, the screen's pretty much the same size, but the masking changes.
That's wild.
But yeah, I'd always put them in theater 11, go in at 7 a.m. and just fire up a movie and watch it.
Man.
Maybe 2 movies and then do whatever work I had for the day.
That's
'Cause
awesome.
we typically didn't open until maybe like 11 a.m. or noon.
Yeah, so why is that? That was like one of the main questions. Why aren't there movie theaters that are open 24 hours? Like, why aren't there movie theaters that are open real early?
Probably just because no one would go.
You don't think so?
Yeah, because even days where we would open early, anytime there was like a big release like Star Wars, for the next week or 2 or 3 or whatever, we would be opening at like 9 a.m. instead of.
And you guys didn't have
11.
like you didn't have a
For Star Wars, yeah, but for every other movie, there'd be maybe like 2 people in there.
really?
It just wasn't worth it.
Man.
For 3 people to come see.
I would love
Mr.
it to, like-
Church,
yeah,
drink
Mr.
Eddie Murphy.
That's a good callback. I would sometimes in the morning, like, I mean, I just get up early, so I guess I'm just bored.
I'm the same way, and it's cheaper too. Like a lot of theaters, if you go before a certain time, like
Yeah.
the Waterfront, if you're at a showtime that starts before noon, it's $5.
Yeah, like
So,
that's pissed. Matinee, got to save a buck.
Yeah.
Do people really care if you bring your own shit in?
No, just like we don't care. I mean, that is where the movie theater makes most of its money.
Yeah.
because the movie ticket, like that money off the movie ticket, goes pretty much all to the studio.
For sure.
Like a $10 ticket, the theater might get like $1 or $2 off of it, and the rest is going to the studio.
Yeah.
People are always like, "Oh, movie theater's a fucking ripoff with a $5 thing of popcorn," and it's like, how else is that theater going to stay in business? When that
a good point.
ticket you just bought for $15, the theater is only getting like $3.50 off of. Like,
That's a good point. I never thought
a
about
lot of people
that.
are going to go see a movie, but still, they're
Do you
not getting that. You're paying all that money to the theater.
Yeah,
the
but
theater's
like
not keeping all
I
that.
see what you mean. Yeah, I hear you. That's a good point.
Yeah.
To think about, like, why is the concession so much money?
Right.
But that's a good point. You're probably paying it all back, basically. Just
Yep, all the ticket money at least. Yeah.
yeah, because these movies cost millions to make.
Right.
That's fucking insane. What got you into movies whenever you were younger?
It's hard to say because I didn't have, like, I know you had an older brother.
Yeah.
And your aunt and uncle owned a movie store.
Yeah.
So you had like
A reason to get into
a
it.
reason to get into them, and I didn't because my mom and dad were never movie people.
Yeah.
But my grandma was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my grandma worked at a movie theater when she was young,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and she would take me to see movies. So I'd go, stay with my grandparents, visit my grandparents, and we'd look up the movie times in the newspaper
Yeah.
and go see a movie.
That's crazy.
And that's like all my like early
Look it up in the
memories.
newspaper.
Yeah, I know.
You remember calling Distinta and
Yeah.
having to hear them read it back to you?
Yep.
God, and now we just have cell phones to just Google
Buy a
it.
ticket right there on my phone.
Wow, what a time to be alive.
It is, but like that's my early movie memories. They're like going.
Do you
to the
remember,
theater
like,
with her?
Some of the first ones that you've ever seen?
I asked her about it just a month or two ago. We were talking about it, and there's like certain ones I remember. I know there has to be ones before that, but I remember seeing like Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Like Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Those are all like 2001, and I know I was at the theater before that, but it's like I don't remember really.
I remember seeing. I think some of the earliest movies I went to see. I remember seeing the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
My brother was there. I remember seeing a movie called White Squall. Have you ever heard of that?
Never heard of it.
It's with Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges he plays the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges. I don't know why I thought something else, but he was like a guy. He was like the captain of a big ass sailboat, and he would have like a crew of like misplaced youth, or like some kids that were like bad that like their parents forced them. It was almost like a boarding school, and like he like broke them down and built them up to be like good sailors and all this shit. And I just remember Pacey, or not Pacey, but the one dude from Party of Five was in there. And Jeff Bridges, and I think that those were the only people that were like bigger name actors, but that movie was so fucking good. And I remember seeing that in the movie theater, but I remember there was I was so young because there was a scene where they kill a dolphin and this fucking kid shoots a dolphin and it like was about to die anyway, so Jeff Bridges hands him a fucking mallet and says, "Finish what you started."
Jeez.
And this dude's crushing this dolphin, and like as he comes down with a hammer, you see the dolphin's tail flip up.
Yeah.
And I just remember like having like a breakdown, like crying so hard. And I remember there was a dude sitting in front of me, turned around and said, that's not real, like you're all right.
Yeah.
But I was young. It had to be like maybe like 97, 98, whenever that movie came out. But it was a Rainbow Shopping Center. Did you ever go there?
No.
Rainbow Shopping Center had a movie theater right where the old Cheapskates used to be. Mm-hmm. And it was wild because like I think I remember seeing the Fox and the Hound there too, but I can't really remember.
Yeah. It's hard to remember like back that far.
Yeah, back that far for sure.
I always remember, I'll never forget this probably, but I remember my grandma and I went to go see The Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
And I knew nothing about it, because I was young, 10 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about it. Didn't watch any trailers, because I'm not looking up trailers on my phone.
Yeah,
so, like, I didn't know anything about it. My grandma wanted to see it, so she's like, "You'll like it. Let's go." It ended, and like the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings ends, and like Sam and Frodo are just like looking at Mount Doom out in like the distance, and that's it. And I was just like, "What the fuck is this?"
Graham, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, "What? That's it?" She's like, "Yeah, there's going to be 2 more." I was like so confused. I didn't understand the concept that. Like,
that was the first time that like you understood that there was like
more
I was like,
movies. Me, like what? Like what do you? I was like,
that's
I'm
cool.
So mad. Like I have to wait now to see.
I don't know if
more.
I remember that any of like the movie experiences. If I knew that there was going to be like sequels and stuff.
I think it's probably because a lot of movies that come out, they don't have sequels planned right away. They want to wait to see how much money it makes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like with Lord of the Rings,
they obviously knew.
Older people, knew. But
yeah, because it was such like a big. That's a good point. I've probably seen all of them, but I've probably only seen them all once. Yeah. And whenever they came out years ago, I know they're pissed. I got to watch them.
Yeah, I watched like the extended versions a little bit ago, and they're like 4 hours each.
Yeah. Now you. So another thing that I wanted to bring up is like you wrote that script for Rise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about this?
You can go ahead and see what you're going to say.
So like we always talk about like the zombie movie stuff. And that's like something that we've always talked about, was like trying to make something along the lines. But you yourself are more into the like I would say I'm a movie guy.
Yeah,
but you're like
definitely
you're like a movie aficionado. Like all the directors. See, for me, like I could say quotes of movies. I could say like some actors, or I could say like, oh, like this actor from this other movie, but I don't know anything about directors. I don't know anything about like, the backing behind the movie, but you have like a crazy knowledge of like the directors and things like that. And you wrote this script this one time, and like you're good at that. Like how did you, like I'm curious like how you started to like get into like the more in-depth shit. Like I watch a movie and I just like that's it for me. It's like I watch it and I gain what's going on in the movie, but like I never kind of get the other stuff.
I guess what it was I watched, it was one specific thing. The original Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
1978, Monroeville Mall, like one of my all-time favorite movies. I was watching like the extras on that disc. You know, I just watched the movie and now I'm watching like the making of.
Yeah.
And they're just talking about the mall and, you know, how they did everything. And when they filmed that movie, it was like Christmas time.
Really?
Yeah. And they would film at night. So they had to go in, take down all of the Christmas decorations, film, put them all back up before the mall opened again the next morning.
Holy
And then,
shit.
you know, come back again and film the next night.
I had no idea about that.
And it was just so interesting to me, like watching this. And, you know, I love horror movies.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was when I was like, this could be like a cool thing to,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
to do. And I guess, you know, I've always had kind of like little ideas here or there.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get like a full like screenplay or script together.
100%.
But, you know, I have like I still write, and I just write little bits here or there. Like maybe it's like the opening scene, or maybe I'll write like a closing scene, or just something that happens in the middle. Putting it all together is kind of hard because I have so many different things that go in different directions.
Seth Rogen said that they were writing Superbad for like well over a decade.
Yeah. And I believe it. A lot of
Yeah,
people are like that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you wrote this script for like a thing that we were trying to do called Rise, which I still think that we should do. But and I just remember reading it, and like I've never really read a script before that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I never really like read, because it's way different. Like we recently, you have always posted like that script to screen
Yeah.
on Facebook, which is a pretty cool account because it'll show like an iconic scene, and then right under it, it'll have like a screen of the script scrolling up
Like
as
going
it's
along
like
with it.
progressing.
Yep.
And it's so sick to see that, because like now that I've seen a couple of them, like I wanted to watch all of them.
Yeah.
Like I watched Shawshank Redemption, like whenever Red comes in and, you know, gets
parole
read,
hearing,
gets read his parole and everything. But it was just so cool to see how a script is read. And I don't know if like people have ever even looked at it, but there's all sort of like different details. And I feel like that's the shit that you're like super good at, is like seeing, like building around it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say that I'm good at doing that, like the details.
Yeah.
Definitely not good at dialogue. Dialogue's hard. It's hard to make something sound natural.
Yeah.
It's hard to like write something and make it sound like someone actually said that.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go off of real world situations, like conversations you've had in the past or heard in the past, and,
Yeah, and how
things
they-
you know that are actually being said.
Yeah, and
in
how
real
it
life.
actually progresses.
Right. Because you can just throw it on any old dialogue, but it's going to sound fake. It's going to sound like Sharknado.
Yeah, hacky. Yeah, Sharknado. That's wild. Yeah, and I think that with you being like involved with that shit, you see like more. Like I see some shit in movies that other people don't see just because I'm a fan.
Right.
You see a lot of shit that other people don't see. So like a lot of the movies that are coming out nowadays, like we talked about, like a lot of the horror movies,
Yeah.
they're all being left so open, and a lot of people hate it, but like a lot of people love it, and some I like, some I don't like, because I feel that because a lot of the things that are doing this, it gives like movies like like a scapegoat almost, where they could
Right.
just like be like, oh, we can just leave it open and like leave it
Yep.
to the person to interpret what happens.
Right.
Which is cool for some reason. Like The Gray has probably one of the best. Like a lot of people were pissed at that ending because it just ends so abruptly, but that was like one of like the best. I thought it was better that I could like kind of think of what happened to Liam Neeson in that movie. But do you agree with that? Like that a lot of the movies are getting so broad and getting, I don't know, too artistic?
I think they're trying to target two different audiences, but the marketing for it isn't. The marketing is always makes it seem like something it's not. Like it's talking about like A24 specifically in movies like The Witch or It Comes at Night, or the most recent one, Hereditary.
Yeah.
They market it and they have all these quotes on the screen. It's always like the scariest movie ever. They said like this generation's Exorcist for Hereditary.
yeah.
That's what they said. So they really build it all up. But the thing is, so many horror movies nowadays are just really quick jump scares. Like the Conjuring movie, like someone's gonna,
it's
come
all
up behind you and
suspense.
clap their hands, and that's gonna make you
that's
jump
a
out of
good
your
movie.
seat. It is.
That's a real good movie.
But that's what a lot of people are getting in their head is like, this is what horror is jump scares.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna run out from a corner and scare me. So when these new horror movies are coming out that don't have jump scares, they're more psychological, people are let down.
Yeah,
They see it on TV, they see a trailer for it, they see it marketed as something, that it might not ultimately end up being.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is just going to be like The Conjuring or something. It's going to make me jump out of my seat, but it's not. It's just going to really like fuck with your head.
Yeah, so people assume things and
Right.
ruin it. Do you like watching trailers?
Yes and no.
I kind of stopped. And I don't think it's necessarily just as like a choice. It's part of like I'll see a trailer on Facebook and I won't have time to watch it.
Yeah.
But I think it benefits it. Like I think it benefits because like they put a lot of the good shit in trailers nowadays just because like to get you in the seat is the same as like
Right.
the tickets being sold.
They got their money.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we show you all the good stuff in the beginning or not. But there's some movies where they'll show you literally all the good things in the trailers.
Right.
And then you go there and you're like, all
You've seen
right.
it all.
Yeah, you've seen like the coolest part already.
Yep.
And like for instance, the first thing I was thinking of was the Fast and the Furious with the plane at the end.
Yeah.
Right whenever she dies. What the fuck is her name in that?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I won't even tell. Don't say the name, but hey, spoiler alert. Sorry about that. Fuck it. Those movies
I
are.
don't even remember what that was either.
Me
That was
either.
like
There's
6 or something.
75 of them, and they all fucking suck now. It's a shame how easily The Rock gets handed movies.
I know.
It
He'll
fucking makes
do
me sick,
anything.
dude. It makes me sick. I'm not saying it ain't good because Pain and Gain was an incredible movie, but it's like
Jumanji made like a shit ton of money.
I heard it was
It was
incredible.
in theater, like it came out on digital, like Blu-ray, DVD, all that stuff, and it was still in like most theaters because it was just making so much money.
I heard it was so good. I didn't watch it yet though, but like I hate a lot of like the gimmicky movies. Like I'm not a Kevin Hart fan
Yeah.
at all. Like Ride Along, like I think the funniest role that I've seen him in a movie was like, I loved him in The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
And I thought that like I like him as like feature roles like that. Like I don't really like him as a main character. I don't like his
I get that.
like but he's also one of the biggest comedians out in the world right now. He sells out like 100,000
Yep.
seat arenas. But it's just a different like a different type of comedy. It's like more of like a family, like a sitcom-y.
It's one of those movies where like you don't care what you're going to see.
Yeah.
You just want to see something.
Yeah, like I hated that Ride Along movie. I
Never
thought
saw
it was
I've
terrible.
seen like parts of it, like I caught it on TV or something, but it's one of those ones I just didn't really care to watch.
Yeah, and that's also interesting. There's movies that like come out that I just have never seen. That like I just watched The Shining for the first time like a couple years ago. Never seen it.
Yeah.
And it's fucking insane that I've never watched it. I went that long without seeing it. And there's a lot of movies that just like people. I mean, like I've known about them forever, just never watched them.
Yeah.
And I know that they're good. Like for instance, Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. I know that is a fantastic movie. Just never watched it.
Yeah.
No idea why. Would you say horror is your favorite genre?
I'd say it used to be.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, it's hard to say because I really used to be like really specific. Like, fuck that, I'm not watching this. It's probably gonna suck. Like, but now I'll watch mostly anything now because I want to try and be more open.
Yeah.
I'll watch a romance movie or something that used to be like I know I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
But I'll watch pretty much anything now. I'd say comedy's at the bottom of the list as far as like prioritizing things. I'd probably pick a comedy last.
Really?
I like comedy, but I'd probably rather watch like a super serious movie over a comedy movie if I had to pick.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I'd say right now I'm in horror's still up there, but right now I'm kind of just like in the drama stage.
Yeah.
Like I like a lot of serious.
What are like some of the recent movies that you have watched that like blew you away?
Definitely Hereditary, which is horror. And
You like that?
Oh, I loved it. Then again, it's like I don't think it's this age's Exorcist,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have jump scares. It's not going to make you jump out of your seat.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe one in the entire movie, but it really fucks with your head, and it's really dark, and there's just like it leaves you thinking. and has a really creepy, like unnerving vibe to it.
Yeah.
So it's like that type of horror movie. But I loved it.
Now, so I mean, like back in the day, like what did you start on? Like what were some of like, because I just remember the movies that I feel like that I was built off of were old martial art movies,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like Bloodsport. I just remember I always
Yeah.
watched all those. And then, you know, like I remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, kids movies like Batteries Not Included, Flight of the Navigator, things
Small
like
Soldiers.
that. Well, this was even before Small Soldiers. But I remember kind of like starting on those types of movies. Like
Yeah.
that was like 80s movies,
Yeah.
90s, stuff like that. Like what was some of your first like,
It was probably the movies that were out at that time. Like I didn't start getting into older movies until, you know,
yeah.
later in life.
Yeah.
And I remember like renting, like I didn't see The Matrix in theaters, but like my mom rented it for me from Eagle Video.
Eagle Video.
Eagle Video
Wow.
on VHS. And I remember like watching that and a lot of the old movies that I shouldn't have been watching, you know?
Yeah.
But I'd very laid back, you know? Very
Yeah.
laid back
Same
mom, very
thing
laid
with my
back
mom and dad.
just
They
like-
never gave a fuck
Yeah.
about it.
And I had a computer, so I had my own computer in my room.
How old are we talking?
At this time, I don't know, it was probably like 12,
Okay.
maybe 12, 13.
Yeah.
It was like middle school, going into high school. Definitely middle school, because I'm thinking like putting up away messages on AIM.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would download movies. Like I'd see something online, and back then it was dial-up.
See,
you know,
I never
downloading something on
did
LimeWire,
that.
and it would take days.
Yeah, like it would take days for a song. Remember you could play like a part of it
Yep.
and you hear like you would just play like the first 10% of it and hear if it was good quality. If not, delete
Yep,
it.
delete it.
Yeah.
But that's like I would download, like that's when I first saw Donnie Darko.
Really?
I saw it on like maybe it was on MySpace or something. I saw something about it,
Yeah.
and I downloaded it on like LimeWire.
So,
And-
but even before all this, like, how did you even get into movies besides for going with your grandma? Because, like, for you to see something on MySpace, like Donnie Darko, and
Right.
like find what it was, and then want to watch that, like,
I think at that age it was like getting easier to do that because like the internet existed. So
yeah,
before then it was just
like, did you buy movies and shit back then?
Not back then. Like the VHS tapes. Like I have a whole
Trunk of it. Yeah, I
trunk of
still have a
VHS
bunch of them.
tapes. Like, so I was definitely always into the Disney movies, and I still have most of them on VHS.
Yeah,
Titanic on VHS.
Yeah,
Matrix
they
on
had
VHS.
two of 'em.
Like, yeah,
two
way too
tapes.
long. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah. So I mean, my grandma. It was basically just whenever my grandma would take me,
yeah,
or if my grandma bought me a tape or something.
and you just like started loving it.
I wouldn't say I started loving it that young.
Yeah.
But like getting into when I really started to like get hooked on it was probably like middle school and high school.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
it was like that age when I was like downloading movies online to watch, or I was getting a little older, so my mom didn't care if I watched an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
And I remember like having art class in high school with Seth Ranson.
Oh yeah, and me.
Yeah, you were in there too.
Yeah, we
And-
hated each other.
Yep, sat at opposite ends of the room. But me and Seth sat together, and that was like one of the first people that I like started talking about movies and TV shows with.
Yeah.
Was like Seth Ranson, and I'll always remember him and always remember that because that's like I'd liked movies up to that point, but it's like none of the rest of my friends did. We'd go skateboarding together or whatever, but
Yeah.
we wouldn't like necessarily watch movies together
And be able to like
or,
talk
about
like
them.
real in depth talk
Right.
about them.
But
Because
then-
you were ahead of your time. I remember we had to do a painting, and you did that painting of No Country for Old Men. Whenever
Yep.
he's in the front seat of that car
Javier
with
Bardem.
the broken out window.
Still have that. Yep.
You never finished it, there, right?
I don't think I ever finished it.
Because it was a fucking difficult painting. It
was
was like
so
1,000 pieces of broken glass.
It took me hours to just pencil in all those little broken glass pieces.
Yeah, but like I remember you for sure, definitely. You were like the first one that I knew that like started to watch like like weirder movies. Like No Country for Old Men was like, I feel like that was like around like the start of like the weird like not dry but like bizarre like.
Yeah.
Like, how would you even describe that type of movie? Because it's not the same as like it's an action movie.
I would describe it as a movie that's directed towards the Academy. Like they're trying to win awards with it.
Yeah, like you could tell, like it's almost like a like, I don't know the right words to describe it. It's just like a bizarre, like very loose, like it's not really like a dead set storyline, not like a very, very active. It's just like slow, like let your mind wander, and then like as your mind wanders, it finds like another checkpoint, and like your mind keeps wandering, and then it happens. Because I remember that was like one of the first movies I seen that was like almost like an artistic movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because when did that come out? Like that was
like early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, see, like
maybe mid 2000s, I don't remember.
I probably never even seen that movie until like 2008 around there. But
I think it might have been when it came out, like 2005, 2006. I
yeah,
don't remember.
But I just remember that was like an artistic type movie, and you were like real heavy into all that shit. And like I wouldn't say I was into like the artistic shit. I just consumed like the blockbusters because.
Right.
My mom would take me to like Blockbuster with my brother every Friday or Thursday night, and we would each be able to pick a movie. She would pick a couple movies, and like, the reason that I got into movies was more or less the covers of VHS movies.
Yeah.
So like,
if it had a good cover.
Yeah, like I just remember seeing VHS movies and being like, what the fuck is that? Like the Jason movie with the mask with the snake coming through the eye. And I remember the movie cover, the VHS cover was like, textured. It was like almost a 3D. It had like
nice cover.
Yeah, it was super cool. And I remember there was a movie called Monkey Shines. I've still never seen it.
I know what it is, but I've never seen it either.
It's just it's like, one of them little toy monkeys with the symbols.
Yep. And
like it's like a demon version of it. But I just remember seeing all those, and that was kind of how I would, like kind of get it. I wouldn't know actors' names, but I'd be like, oh, he's in that movie that I seen,
right?
And just grab that movie. But my parents were cool. Like they never were like, oh yeah, you can't watch an R-rated movie.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the best way to be, like as a parent.
You can't censor your kids, because if you keep them on a short leash and you let them go for a minute, they're gonna fucking run away.
Yep.
It's Catholic schoolgirl syndrome.
Exactly.
As terrible as that sounds. Did you used to go to the movie store a lot and like rent movies?
Yeah. So I would, parents were divorced like super young, and I'd go to my dad's on the weekend. And we'd always go to Blockbuster Friday. I'd get there like Friday night, and we'd stop at Blockbuster before getting to his house. And whether I got a movie or whether I got a video game, it was always Blockbuster on Friday.
That's the best.
It was.
That's another job that I've always wanted to have.
Yeah,
like that was something cool. To be like a head key holder at Blockbuster. Yep. Be Kind, Rewind. It's just so wild to think about. Like there was some sections of them shelves. Like with all one copy of a movie, it would be like all copies of Face Off.
Yep.
And like you would look and there'd be no movies behind there, and you'd be like, fuck. And you would go down there. It's just such a wild time. Cause like now we can
Blockbuster was like the place, like they had, some of the Blockbusters had like games in there, like a little arcade at the front almost.
Yeah, you
like,
could buy popcorn and candy and shit. And it was, it was fucking insane. So like, what do you like, I feel like you're pretty open, you said, to movies. Mm-hmm. Like, you pretty much watch everything. What's some shit that you dislike? Like, is there any genre that you dislike, or?
I always say that, I'd probably be a terrible critic because I just try to find something good about
any movie,
anything I watch. Even if it's a shitty movie, I'll try and find something I like about it.
Yeah.
But like, I find myself, picking apart movies in my head as I'm watching it. I feel like, your general audience probably goes to a movie, 2-hour movie, and they sit down and they just watch what's happening on screen, and they're thinking about the story, and the movie ends and that's it.
Yeah.
And I sit down and I'm like, oh, that's, I like that camera angle, or like, oh, I like how that shot was done.
Yeah.
And if there's like a long shot happening, most people don't notice those things, but it's like something that
like a running shot.
I'll be like, hey, that camera hasn't cut in like a minute. Like
yeah, those are sick.
Like the 7-minute True Detective.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people won't notice that, but there's the things that I'll like start to like pick apart in my head and notice. So it could be like a terrible movie, and I'll be like, I really like the cinematography though.
That's
like,
a good point.
I didn't like the story, but I liked how this was shot.
What are some of the worst movies that you've seen in the past, like in the past few years?
Like worst.
Yeah, like there's movies that are getting all these like awards and everything like that, and I'll watch them, and I can't even think of a good example, but I know that there's movies that people like rave about, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's just terrible.
Yeah. it's hard to say because I'm like I said, I like to be more open, but I'm also kind of subjective about,
Yeah.
But like, for example, we can talk about like Moonlight for a minute.
I've never seen it.
And everybody's like, this movie's fucking incredible. This is like an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not a good movie, but I don't think it deserved to win everything that it was winning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it deserved Best Picture. I don't think it was that good. And it's like, I liked it, but there were so many other movies that came out that year that I liked so much more that, I didn't hate Moonlight, but I was just like,
well, that's why I was curious because, like, I mean, like, if I talk to you about movies, like, you're usually, like, I don't really hear bad reviews from you. You know what I mean? Like you said, you try to find, like, the good in everything. And I'm definitely more critical. Like, I'm just like, nah, that ain't good. I can't remember.
Good Time.
Oh, my God. That Good Time with Robert Pattinson. Terrible movie. Did that win awards?
I don't think so.
Was it nominated for awards?
It was not.
Well, I could see that being nominated and winning
Because
awards.
it's one of those artsy
It's one of
movies.
That's exactly what I mean. So that movie right there, Good Time with Robert Pattinson, if anyone has seen it, doubtful. It's just so fucking bizarre and weird. And like it's so like artsy feeling that I'm sure the director was like, man, this is so good. Like I'm going to just let the viewer decide. And it's just like, that's fine and everything, but you better give us enough pieces to build a puzzle, which definitely they did not have.
No, they definitely didn't.
And you just like, I mean, what we're just supposed to, keep thinking about it and like,
Reddit.
That's
look it up on Reddit afterwards.
I ain't. That's bullshit.
Like Westworld episode.
Speaking of Westworld, like, what kind of TV? Like, do you enjoy? Like, I feel like I'm getting more into TV shows rather than movies.
I feel like I'll probably always be movies over TV shows. Like I'd rather watch a movie than an episode of a TV show.
Yeah, but like nowadays, TV shows are like turning into long movies,
right?
Like Ozarks, for instance.
Yeah, and a lot of them are hour long. And I think the new season of Game of Thrones, the rumors are saying that each episode's going to be like an hour and a half long. Like
I've never watched any of them. I mean, I've watched like 4 episodes of the first season, but like everyone tells me I should get into it.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is probably the best show on TV that's like currently on. I mean, I'd say Westworld is the best show that's like airing right now, even though the last episode just ended.
Yeah.
Of the season. But like Game of Thrones is probably the best current show, I think, as far as like a serious drama goes. In my opinion. Love Game of Thrones. Westworld too. That's really all I'm like watching at the moment. If there's something else, like Stranger Things when that comes on in October.
Yeah.
I love that. Ozark, whenever that new season comes out.
That's going to be real good
Netflix
for sure.
has a lot of good ones.
Yeah, Netflix is killing it. Do you watch any of like the big ones on Amazon, like Handmaid's Tale or whatever?
I don't watch that. There's the other one. Was it The Man in the High Tower?
Man in the High Tower.
Watch that.
Then there's another one called it's with Billy Bob Thornton.
I think that one's is that just getting ready to start? Because I saw an advertisement
Goliath.
on Amazon.
That's what it's called, Goliath.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be good. I just heard him talk about it on Mark Maron's podcast. They were doing
an
like
advertisement
promo
for that on Amazon, but
that's pissed though.
yeah. But I'd say I'm definitely always movies over TV. But Sopranos is the best TV show of all time.
I watched like probably 4 episodes. I watched probably 4 episodes, all of them, and then I just like it's just that I don't have time. And the thing that sucks about it is like. I said the thing that sucks about it. The thing that's hard about it is having a wife because, like, one thing, it's difficult to, like, I mean, you have to be real about it. If you're an adult working 40 hours a week, you come home at 4. By the time you're done making dinner or eating, it's 6 o'clock. I go to bed by, like, 9.
Yep.
So, like, that 3 hours where we don't, like, have anything to do, we usually try to, like, just chill. We're sitting on the couch relaxing.
I get that.
But we obviously have to agree on something to watch.
Yep.
And then we obviously like just have to like consume all of that. And if we're sitting together, we're consuming that show. So there's not really time for me to just watch 97,000 episodes of Game of Thrones that are all an hour long.
Yep.
Like
it's hard to get into especially a show that's like over.
God.
Where there's like a back catalog of 70 episodes or something that are all an hour long each. It's hard to just like start.
Yeah, like The Sopranos, even though I did watch every single episode of Gossip Girl, which was like...
But it's just like something, you got to commit to it. You got to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to be watching for the next like 4 weeks, this.
My first, my internship, whenever I first got out of school, I called off, I took 2 days of vacation on a Thursday and Friday just so I could watch Gossip Girl for 4 days straight.
That's awesome.
And I watched the entire series,
Yeah.
in like a week probably. It was fucking insane. For anyone that hasn't seen Gossip Girl, I highly suggest it. But, yeah, I don't know.
That's like how I was for Stranger Things.
Yeah, like it's too
like
good.
when that new season came out, I knew it was coming out. I requested off work, and I think it went up at like, that was the same day the iPhone went up for pre-order, the iPhone 10.
Yeah.
I woke up at 3 because I was like, that's like midnight, on the
Yeah.
West Coast. So I woke up at 3, got on my phone, pre-ordered the new iPhone, and then turned on Stranger Things and just binge watched the whole season. Finished at like noon or something.
So good.
Took a long knee after that.
Yeah. So what movies are you like anticipating coming out?
The one that just came out today, actually, the new Sicario movie.
Yeah.
That's probably my most anticipated of this summer, at least.
Really?
Yeah.
First one was good.
The first one is probably on my top 10 of all time. Like, it's so recent, but I'd still put it in there. I think it's incredible. All aspects of it. The writing, the directing.
Keep it. Top 10 movies. Slide that in there. I can name 10 right now that are better than that.
I don't know about that.
Quentin Tarantino has 8 movies.
Yeah. And all 8 of them aren't better than Sicario. Tarantino is my favorite.
4 of them
writer
are
and director.
though. 4 of them.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. Django Unchained is probably, I mean, that's 100% of my top 10. Like, that's one of the best movies. Hateful Eight was incredible.
Oh, I love the Hateful Eight.
Now, this is another thing that I wanted to get into. So, you're wearing a shirt
Yeah.
with,
Ms. Mia Wallace.
yeah, Miss Mia Wallace on there, the great Uma Thurman, from Pulp Fiction. Now,
Yes.
there's so many people that say that Pulp Fiction is like, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yep.
I think it's super overrated. I'm not saying that I don't like it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's obviously a great movie, but that's probably I've never seen Jackie Brown,
Okay.
but besides for that, that's probably my least favorite Tarantino movie.
Jackie Brown's my least favorite, just because it's completely different from the rest of his movies.
Yeah, I don't even know the whole premise of it, but
It's-
that's fine.
It's based off of a book, and I think that's why it's so different. But
Fuck it.
I think it's both. I think it is one of the greatest movies of all time, and I also think it is overrated.
Yeah.
But I think it just started getting popular like a few years back. It's always been kind of popular, but social media.
Now it's
has-
getting social media popular. It's always had a
right.
cult
It's
following.
always had a cult following, but now it's
Social
not now,
media
'cause I feel like it's starting
popularity.
to die off already. But there was
Yeah.
like people were being Mia Wallace for Halloween like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like this movie's 24 years old or whatever, and people are just now like being these characters for Halloween, which is fine. You can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old the movie is, but I feel like people are just starting to now get into it.
I agree with that.
It's not like they've been a Pulp Fiction fan since '98, and now they're just dressing as Mia Wallace.
That's when it
for
came out in
Halloween.
'98?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was going up against Forrest Gump for Best Picture.
That's
He
crazy.
lost Forrest Gump.
Obviously. I love Forrest Gump. Too good. Now, the reason I asked you that is like, I want you to place your Tarantino movies from your least favorite to favorite.
Least favorite, starting with Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
And then second least favorite would probably be Death Proof.
Yeah.
And then I'd put, it's hard to say because I love them all, but like least favorite to most favorite, Jackie Brown, Death Proof. I'm going to have to go with Django.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I would put, it's hard to say.
That's all right. I'm going to cut out any downtime.
I'm going to have to put, my mind wants to say Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
But like, I love
Jeez.
it, but it's like so old. I'm not going to say it doesn't hold up because it does, but
It's almost like it's ran its course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times that it's ran its course. So it's 4 now. 4 more. Then I'd put, I feel like what am I forgetting? Jackie Brown. I feel like I need to write this down.
I mean, there's Kill Bill.
Yeah.
There's
Jackie Brown, Death Proof, Django, Reservoir Dogs.
Kill Bill, Hateful Eight.
Then what's left is Inglourious Bastards, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, and Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
And those are going to be the hardest to place. Inglourious Bastards is first, for sure.
Really?
Yep.
That's your favorite one?
Yeah, it's going to be Inglourious. Now I'll go the opposite way for the last four.
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards is my favorite. Hateful Eight, second favorite. Kill Bill, third favorite. Pulp Fiction, fourth favorite.
Okay. That's what's up.
I think Inglourious Bastards is like his best work.
I could definitely go with that. Like, I mean, I could agree.
Not for Django. I know you will place Django differently, but
Yeah, like I think that Django. I think that I also have I'm biased against westerns because like I love westerns. Maybe like 3:10 to Yuma is like probably that's in my top 10, 100%. I always loved that. That's another movie. That's another type of movies that I grew up on was like westerns, like
Yeah.
Quick and the Dead, Young Guns, shit like that. But I don't know. Django was just so wild. Plus, I love Jamie Foxx
Yeah.
and Christoph Waltz. He's just
yeah. And that's, I mean, I think that's one of the main reasons
and
why.
Leo. Come on,
Yeah.
so sick. His new movie though is going to be unreal.
I think it's going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. That screenshot of Brad Pitt and Leo like dressed up in them
Yeah.
fucking in
The
them retro
60s
clothes,
get up.
so sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the last segment of the podcast. We've been going for 2 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know it's been a minute, so like we have to wrap it up. So the last segment of the podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I think we talked about it all.
I think we did too. I like it. Last segment of the podcast for everyone that doesn't know, Desert Island Questions. So, Desert Island Questions, I give people 3 categories, and you get 3 choices for each category to take with you on a desert island like Tom Hanks in Castaway. So, first category, movies.
This is tough. And like, I know this is coming because I listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have 2 answers. I'm only going to go with one, but I was like, do I want to take 3 super serious movies or do I want to switch it up? And the more I think about it, if I'm on a desert island, I'm not going to want to watch
All serious.
all the time.
Yeah, the one person was like, oh, I'd take Castaway. I was like, what the fuck?
3 desert island movies: Inglourious Bastards,
Yeah.
Pineapple Express,
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club.
Really? Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
That's good.
I want my like serious movie, I want my comedy, and I want my like pinnacle 80s
Yeah.
movie.
That's understandable. Okay, so I know you don't read too many books, but I'm going to give you a consolation question with the games.
3 video games. I'm going to have to say Metal Gear Solid. It's hard to decide which one.
That's fine. I'll let you take them all.
I could take all of them.
Sure.
All right, I'll take every Metal Gear Solid game.
How many are there?
If we're only counting the ones that matter, like 5.
Okay.
Halo 2.
Okay.
Specifically Halo 2.
Halo 2. That's not the first time that was mentioned on here.
And a third game, probably The Last of Us.
Ooh, real good.
I want something that's like a long game
That
has
you could
replay
like,
value.
it's like a story.
Yep. It's like a movie. And
It's seriously like a movie. And I don't play video games, but I played that all the way through and it was incredible.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one.
It's going to be so good.
Put a pin in it real quick since you picked the third one. Now, do you think that The Last of Us, that A Quiet Place, John Krasinski's movie, was very similar to The Last of Us?
Yeah, I know we talked about this in the group chat, and it is.
It's similar a little bit, but I don't think it's
not like a lot. But I mean, the zombies or whatever, the clickers.
Yeah.
That only hear. They hear, they can't see. That concept is.
I don't know why I
same.
can't put them both together like that. It's just hard for me to like equate that alien type that you can't talk.
Yeah.
To like, zombies and like surviving in a zombie-ridden.
And I think it's more like, I think the monster in A Quiet Place is more like the Demogorgon as far as the looks.
100%. The
From Stranger
Demogorgon,
Things.
but you also like can't make a sound.
Yeah.
Like that's not what it was in The Last of Us. I mean, it was whenever you were around.
Right.
But like, I think it was I think the part that separates it is like, they that kid had the rocket ship there, and this thing just came from like however far away, like you know what I mean? But I don't know. Anyway, so we went through the video games, and then the last thing is CDs.
It's hard. CDs is hard. So CDs and movies, I feel like, are the hardest.
Yeah, for sure. Because like we didn't even talk about you like being in a band and everything. Like,
Yeah.
Next time you're
Next
on.
time, I'd take Bring Me the Horizon. That's the Spirit.
Oh, that is so good. Even though it's
is.
their newest shit, but
And it's so different from the original shit, but it's so good.
Absolutely.
And I think Drown is like one of my favorite Bring Me the Horizon songs ever. Like when they first released that as a single,
Yeah, dude.
it was so different, but I was like, this is so fucking good.
Yeah, because he went from having that fucked up lyrics to like,
Yeah.
you know,
talking
like
about like being saved and like help me and like, you know, like
now, like I don't know. He's just, I mean, the dude got off ketamine.
yeah.
Probably just turned into a decent person because the
Probably.
Oliver Sykes that I remember is the dude that was
Smashing
spitting
beer
loogies
balls off
on
people's heads. And
yeah,
stuff.
spitting loogies in girls' faces,
Yep.
and girls trying to open their mouth quick enough to catch it in their mouth. Nasty ass Warped Tour.
Yep. I was just about to say that Warped Tour.
Coming up soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Spirit.
Yeah, Bring the Horizon, that's the Spirit. G-Eazy, These Things Happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like his earlier stuff. I don't really like his newest stuff.
yeah,
I think These Things Happen was like a perfect transition between what he is now, what he was before.
Yeah.
I can listen to every song on that album all the way through.
I mean, I like him. I don't hate on him.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate him as a person and as a rapper, but I don't mind him. Like, he definitely comes out with some dope shit.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely like, if he was sitting here with us, he'd probably be a fucking dickhead.
Probably.
But I mean, who cares?
You're not supposed to meet your heroes.
Yeah,
so.
don't meet your heroes.
Yeah. And then last, Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, that has
Wow.
all the hits on it.
That's awesome, though.
I'm just trying to think like
Of what you wanna
I want
listen
a mix
to.
of everything. I want some rock, some like metal. I want some hip hop and rap, and then I want some just like
That's true.
yeah.
That's true.
It's
All
just
right.
that's just like cruising jams. I'm not gonna be cruising anywhere on an island, but
Yeah. Just sit there.
just be sitting there in the sand.
Preparing, ready to kill yourself like Tom Hanks. You know, braiding fucking rope between your toes.
Yep.
Like, oh, gonna hang myself in a little bit. That's a good movie, though. Okay, so I incorporated this new question. It's called Death Row Meal. Obviously, what you would eat. Like, you see them articles online of
Yeah.
like what these famous serial killers chose as their death row meal.
Yeah, they're
so-
very interesting to read.
Yeah, they really are. Like, people have picked like the weirdest shit. Like, some dudes was like, I want like 2 gallons of ice cream and a bucket of fried chicken and 2 bottles of pop. Some people were just like, I want like a can of sardines. You know, some weird ass shit.
Like from what I was reading, like apparently they let them get whatever they want.
Anything.
And this one guy ordered like $200 worth of shit and didn't even touch it. He just wanted it to be like a last fuck you to the prison or whatever. And he ordered like all this stuff like McDonald's, KFC, pizzas, like ice cream, pop. It was like $200 worth of just like all different kinds of fast food. And it came and they put it all out.
That's what I would do
And he
too.
just sat there, just looked at it. He was just like, like, fuck you. I just made you get me this. Now I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna die.
Yep. I'm going to die anyway. So
Yeah,
what does
fuck
it matter
it.
if I eat this or not?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's why I figured. To ask it.
And I don't really have to think on it because I heard it in the last podcast or two. But definitely jalapeno smokehouse burger from Chili's.
Yeah, if it was still here,
R.I.P. Yeah.
man,
That was my shit.
yeah, jalapeno smokehouse burger. That is really, really good.
Yeah. So good.
We're gonna be making some burgers tonight. Last question: if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
I'll be really quick with this one too, just because I knew it was coming. Quentin Tarantino.
I knew it was gonna be him.
Yep.
I seriously feel like he would just be like. I feel like he would be such a cool dude. He would also be like super, super like intense.
Yeah.
I feel
very intense.
like you wouldn't know if he's like.
You wouldn't know if he's like joking about something.
Yeah,
or if
yeah,
he's-
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
I'd,
almo-
I'd also be like nervous about it. Like, what if he ends up being a huge dick? Then
Almost-
it's like this guy I look up to is a dick.
Yeah, like almost like a watered down version of his the Gecko Brothers character in From Dusk Till Dawn, where
Yeah.
he's just like has like I feel like he has just like a very dry sense of humor where he'll say like fucked up shit. I mean, I have no idea about him whatsoever, but like I can imagine him saying like some real fucked up jokes and like have a real underlying bit of humor. But you know, it'll be about like murder or some shit.
Yep. I mean, he's probably the best dialogue writer out there.
100%.
Like, look at The Hateful Eight. It pulls you in, and it's just people sitting in a carriage talking for an hour.
And it has a mix of, you know, like an old school field dialogue with like the old style of talking to a mix of like the new shit, saying like funny ass shit. You know,
I'd love to talk to him just because of that, and like talk to him like how do you
like,
know
what's
how
his
to
process?
Write? Yeah, like, what is your process? Because it sounds so natural and like.
But it also sounds like he just fucking writes it and lets it go.
Right.
I want to know like if he writes it and like has to go over it 100 times, or if he's like a crazy perfectionist. I feel like it isn't though. I feel like that he kind of just like I'm sure that like he knows that he has like the following he does where whatever he puts out, it's gonna be big regardless of what it is. But
I don't think he would put out shit because of that.
Yeah. I completely agree. I'm not saying that like he would just be like, oh, this will be fine, but I think that gives him more options as far as like what he puts. But
I agree, and it's like I don't even remember what I was going to say.
I'm sorry, I completely interrupted you.
No, it's okay. It's just there's just so many, and just watching his movies, there's so many good conversations. Like the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs, talking about what Like a Virgin is about at a coffee, a table in a diner.
Yeah,
it just like it pulls you right in. You're just
really
listening to a bunch of guys talk.
I mean, even everything about his movies are interesting though. Yep. The way they're shot, the scores,
and one of the most. I mean, Inglourious Bastards is my number one. I'd probably put Inglourious Bastards as my number one movie of all time.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And there's just so many. I mean, I could go on for a long time, and I know we're wrapping up, but it's just like just little things, like things you might not notice when you're watching. Like only about 30% of that movie is in English.
Really?
Yeah. But you don't. It pulls you in. You don't realize you're reading subtitles. It is just that good.
Who's your favorite character in the movie?
Definitely Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
Inglourious Basterds. I mean, he won Best Supporting Actor for that, and that's like I feel like that's what introduced not want to say the world.
Yeah.
That's what introduced like North America, I guess. Because he was like a primarily German actor. That was like his first big role.
That came out before Django?
Yeah. He won Best Supporting Actor for both. But yeah, Inglourious Bastards came out before Django.
When did that come out?
2009.
When did Django come out?
I think it was
2011.
I think so. Yeah.
Huh. That's wild.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I'm pumped we did this.
Me too.
On the porch of the cabin, Bear Rocks, PA. Go ahead and plug anything you want to plug.
Don't really have anything to plug. You can follow me on Instagram, just my name, Ryan Privett. And then if you want to see pictures of movies I buy, because you're into that kind of thing, I have an Instagram account for that. I think they would call it a Finstagram.
Yeah, Finstagram. Yeah. I just heard that's a term.
I just heard that too, like a week or two ago. It's Blues Day, BLUSDAY. That's like all new movies come out on Tuesday, buy Blu-rays on Tuesday. And
if you don't know, Ryan has like some sort of like OCD, so like it's all very, very like aesthetically pleasing. All looks very nice, but it's cool to see because like there's some movies on there that I've never even heard of, like that Unsane.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch that?
Yeah, the entire movie was shot on an iPhone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was got like a full release, Hollywood movie shot on an iPhone.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was really good too.
That's crazy. All right, guys, I appreciate it. It's my birthday tomorrow. Fuck yins if you don't like this podcast. I'm just going to live the dream the rest of this weekend up here in the woods, kind of in the woods. But I appreciate everyone listening as usual. Follow me on social media at I'll Call You Right Back, on Instagram, Twitter at ICYRB Podcast, Facebook, I'll Call You Right Back, YouTube, I'll Call You Right Back. Everywhere else is I'll Call You Right Back. All right. If you haven't found me yet, quit sleeping and just find it. Email me. Let me know what you guys like, what you guys dislike. If there's some people that you know of that would be interesting on this podcast and hear me ask them a bunch of random questions for a long period of time, send me an email. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear some feedback from anyone. Call me a piece of shit if you want. I don't care. Just send me an email that says hello, whatever you want to do. But I appreciate everyone listening again. Definitely keep checking back. Every Thursday, we got hot heat dropping first thing in the morning for your commute to your daily grind. And I appreciate it. Again, for the third time I said it. So I'll call you right back.